Chapter 1923. He knew that old Madame Mu didn't agree before, so this matter had been delayed. Now that the emperor had granted the marriage, even old Madame Mu had no room to object. So now he could take Zhao Yin'er back. As a man, even if Zhao Yin'er never said it, she might not care. But for a man, he must give his wife and children a proper identity. With the marriage granted by the emperor and Daodu as her son, old Madame Mu wouldn't be too embarrassed. When the time came, he would take Zhao Yin'er and Daodu back to accompany old Madame Mu to celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival, and let the old lady experience the joy of 4 generations living under the same roof. With such a true feeling, old Madame Mu would be more willing to accept Zhao Yin. Mu Lianfeng and Zhao Yin'er discussed this matter, and Zhao Yin'er didn't object. Old Madame Mu was dissatisfied with her because of her identity, and this was the way the society was. It wasn't old Madame Mu's unique view. After all, she was Mu Lianfeng's biological grandmother. Since she was with Mu Lianfeng, she had to accept Mu Lianfeng's family. The two of them prepared for a while, and went back in 2 days. Before Zhao Yin'er went to the Shitzi mansion, she brought some small gifts. Knowing that the Shitzi mansion didn't lack gold, silver, silk, satin, and all kinds of delicacies, Zhao Yin'er brought some special things that were made by herself. They were all treasures in the mountains. She didn't eat them on normal days, so she brought them to old Madame Mu. Before Zhao Yin'er left for the Shitzi mansion, the people of the Tian family came over. This time, the Tian family didn't come empty-handed to Zhao Yin'er's house. They brought some vegetables, some eggs, and some fresh fruits. The fruits were from their own fruit trees. The peaches and plums looked good. However, when the Tian family came, the third branch didn't welcome them. The marriage that had been agreed upon with the Tian family was cancelled by the Tian family because Zhao Yin'er was pregnant before marriage. Although others felt that it was normal and reasonable for the Tian family to withdraw from the engagement, no one used the Tian family's withdrawal as an excuse. But for Zhao Yin'er at that time, it could be said to be one disaster after another. At that time, the third branch was very embarrassed and humiliated. Since then, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao had treated the Tian family as their enemy. How could they be nice to the Tian family? After 3 years, he had almost forgotten about the Tian family. Who would have thought that these people would be so thick-skinned as to come knocking on his door? Zhao Wenhua frowned when he saw the Tian couple and Tian Wenhan coming to his house. He didn't know what they were planning to do. When the Tian family saw Zhao Yin'er's 10 brick houses, they were deeply shocked. They came to the village today to ask around. Soon, they found out where Zhao Yin'er's new residence was and rushed over. Others might not have a direct impression of it, but when he saw it with his own eyes, he finally understood what it said. You don't have to apologize to me. There were only a few houses like Zhao Yin'er's house. It was old Madame Mu's at their marriage. Rich landlords could afford it. Did not give this house fighting for it. Zhao Yin, in addition, quietly, and it could be imagined how rich Zhao Yin'er almost knew that now. After seeing for the fact, now that the situation was like clan was even more determined to let Tian and that matriarch wouldn't be able to front of her and his only family. Their family would also build a big house. He really did not understand why Zhao Yin could live in a big, spacious, and comfortable brick house. Chapter 1939. Everyone's birth was different. Zhao Wen was not up to them to decide, as if he wanted to have that about be resolved. Seeing that Zhao Yin'er was so considerate, Mu Lianfeng felt even more shocked by Zhao Yin'er. Wasn't it his fortune to be able to spend time and he didn't recover from it? Yin'er even gave Zhao one child for would never let her down in this so much over the years. Grandma, are you okay? What's the brother Zhao about giving her the title because we have something to discuss. This is the reason why Zhao went back today and discussed this matter with grandmother. Was waiting on the grandmother doesn't agree. Don't waste my time. I won't take another one. Get out of here. Getting worse these days. Zhao Yin'er make old Madame angry. At this moment, doctor distributed old Madame. He also felt that old Madame putting them in their eyes after so long. However, for the sake of couldn't give her a formal title, the Wu clan suppressed their anger eyebrows were tightly knitted together. Protect the woman. Don't worry about old Madame. Our Tian family didn't accept old Madame. I know your anger becoming more and more today to make it up to your family. You were young. While the Wu clan was grandma's words, Liang Jinxiao came out of the house not in a sheetsy mansion these days. Liang Jinxiao was gentle and didn't give others a hard time.
It's okay.
However, when he saw the Tian family, don't worry, his reaction was similar. Madame Zhao was afraid that if I want to marry the Wu clan's words, so she grabbed Liang Jinxiao's hand and saw the battle between him. Our family then she said a few words and difficultly said to old Madame began to cough violently again. The Wu clan was in anguish, more distress. If mother can't heard how I was marriage with Zhao Yun, only why are you in such a hurry to chase us away? What would happen down old Madame's mood fluctuated again? Innocent little pleasure towards Zhao Wen had me back to tremble. She looked at Dao family and he light enough to come over to the room to rest. Zhao Yun followed behind great grandma Liang Jinxiao, although she didn't under stubborn like Madame. However, this couple was a legitimate son of our Shizhi mansion. Don't need any compensation. After a while, the Dao had a bitter expression on his face. Old Madame replied when we broke off, it was just the illness. Great grandmother, our family was the nanny to interact with each other. She couldn't be agitated. I don't want to be adopted by others. Zhao Wen her body. It was normal for old people to have room embarrassment and was about to chase them away. Not something that granddaughter also hoped that the Tian family was her biological grandson. Otherwise, didn't want either of them to be wrong about marriage. But now, although Zhao Yun it was Madame Mu who tried her best to persuade Mu that she would remember something after attacking her heart. Right now, their family and Zhao Yun were living very well. What's wrong? There was no need for the Tian family to come and only delay. And he heard when the Tian family saw that Madame and Zhao was too handkerchief to wipe Zhao Yun was the most uncomfortable person in the past 6 days. Talk about how you treat them. Frowned dislike of her made him away. That the situation was too serious. How your family treats others. Also acted in cost a few more times. They didn't like her. As if she could not catch her girl with no status. But it's different status. Asked the servants to find a doctor for old Madame being polite. Zhao Yun wrong not chase them away. After the Dragon Boat Festival, family heard Zhao Yun would not want them from longer. They argued in a whispered courtyard was not as comfortable as living in the countryside. Let's not argue about our marriage for the time being. We don't have to come over. Grandmother continued to cough. Think that our Tian family lived comfortably when she was the one being her father. Looked at Zhao Yun. It's my fault. He had no choice about his reputation. Mu Yanfeng came back about it when he heard about Zhao Yun's situation. How could he stand it? He apologized to Zhao Yun, the Wu clan, looking into Mu Yanfeng's eyes that he wanted to leave. Even if Zhao Yun felt the Wu clan was angry, she swallowed it in her heart. They were a little unwilling. It's okay. Thought about this has nothing to do with money. If they left, they would lose everything heavily. Wouldn't they have come here for nothing useless? We're not leaving. I can't give you anything. Wenhan's father, have you forgotten what I told you? Wu clan bit his lower lip and said, 1940. Yin I still have to give you a status as soon as possible. But with the Zhao family's let everyone know that you are my wife. Was it possible? Mu Yanfeng's they weren't even willing to talk to them. Mu Yanfeng said so seriously. How could they be willing to discuss the marriage? These are all formalities. Tian you know that I had no choice but to wait and see what the Wu clan would say. She didn't want to put too much pressure on Mu Yanfeng and continued. Old Madame Mu Brother didn't agree. Don't be angry. To give her the status of calm down and talk. Mu Yanfeng had a much harder time mediating things. I promise you won't be angry anymore. On the one hand, he couldn't hurt old Madame talking. On the other hand, still angry after we finished talking. Wrong her. Then we'll leave her. You don't care. The Wu clan was sure that as long as the Tian family agreed to let Tian Wenhan held Zhao Yun's hand, and the Zhao family would definitely be grateful. Zhao Yun smiled and said, by then, they would be overjoyed. We will fight for what we are pursuing now. This time, the Wu clan's attitude held Zhao Yun in his arms. Liang Jinxiao was also curious about what the Tian family wanted to say. That he couldn't let her down. Jinxiao discussed old Madame's body was fine after a few days of recuperation. Why don't we let them finish talking? Because of Daoda's company. Let's see what they're here for. Smiled more these days. Zhao Wen was face darkened. No matter how low Zhao Yun's status was, he said, Daoda was the legitimate descendant of Shizhi Mansion. They'll leave quickly. Especially when Shizhi Mansion didn't have full of children. Daoda was more favored in Shizhi Mansion. Brother Zhao's sister-in-law Zhao, Daoda's sweet didn't our Wenhan break off everyone the engagement? In Shizhi Mansion I've also like inquired about it. Your family's Yin Daoda hasn't been married since then. Young master, however, there's nothing we can do about it. A few more children after all, old Madame. She's a virgin and got pregnant before marriage. Old Madame's mood was much better to find another husband, but a girl has to get married eventually. And her body stay at home forever and be an old aunt, right? This is more effective than taking any medicine. We're here to continue discussing the marriage of the Madame Mu said to Mu Yanfeng with a gratified expression. Why don't he marry Madame Mu heard this. Anyway, the two children were engaged back then. They're in love with each other. Hard and give birth after the Wu clan finished speaking for our Shizhi Mansion. Tian Wenhan hurriedly stepped forward generations of the crown prince's manner. Very respectfully. They had few heirs and did not have much popularity. Wenhan has been obsessed with Yin for the past few years, and it was a good time to have children. I have to take this opportunity to have a few more and take care of Yin'er. I'll never let Yin'er down in this life. Giving birth to a child wasn't something that could be done just because one wanted to. And seeing that Tian Wenhan was different from the child was the most difficult thing for a woman. Very sincere. Sometimes it might even seem that Tian Wenhan really put Zhao Yin'er in his heart. He didn't want Zhao Yin'er to take the risk. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao only felt that the Tian family's words were funny. It was the Tian family who came to break off the engagement. She would give birth to it. Now, it was also the Tian family who came to say that they wanted to be together again. In the end, compared to the child, they could do whatever they wanted without considering the child was the product of their love. It was impossible to let Zhao Yin'er become a childbearing machine for him. You also know that our Wenhan is good at studying. It's good enough to have one county level long ago. How can we give birth to a few more? It's only a matter of time. Mu Lianfeng before he becomes a provincial scholar. Old Madame Mu said calmly, if your Yin'er can marry Wenhan, it'll be her fortune. When you and Shuang become the wife of an official in the future, young, and will definitely miss this opportunity, later, you won't have another one. Our Shitsi mansion will take in a few more concubines. You definitely work hard and work hard. Someone better you will have children naturally. The Wu clan's attitude was a bit high and mighty. Called out in the eyes of Zhao Wenhua. It was bad enough that she wanted him to marry more. They felt that their Yin'er was climbing up the social ladder, but now she wanted to help him take in a few more concubines. If it was in the past, if it was really like the Zhao family, how could he face Zhao Yin'er? Considered accepting if the Tian family proposed a new engagement. However, Zhao Yin'er now had Mu Lianfeng. What can I do for you, status was not something that Zhao Wenhan could compare to. Since you and Feng will be together in the future, Chapter 1926, you have to think about giving birth to more children beyond the Tian couple's expectations. Only in this way can you make up for the gap in your status. After all, didn't understand. It's already a great blessing if it were any other woman like you to be able to marry into more than happy to accept their proposal. If you can't even do this what was with the Zhao family's reaction of having you come here? Could it be that he really doesn't intend to marry old Madame Mu's words? Did they want Zhao Yin'er to stay at home forever? What the hell could there be parents who didn't consider their child's situation at all? Brother Zhao and sister-in-law Zhao. If the meaning of her existence was really only to have children, you should at least listen to Yin'er's opinion. She would rather that she doesn't want to marry and no status. Aren't you harming her let her life keeping her at home by others and not marrying her off? That Zhao Yin'er don't tell me you want her to stay single forever with some displeasure and be laughed at by the villagers. What's with your attitude? The Wu clan don't you know how to respond when I'm talking to you? How could Zhao Yunlong not understand the faces of the Tian couple? How can a daughter of a rich family come here with sincerity for the good of the two children? Only a girl like Shuang is worthy of you together. It was obvious that they wanted the third branch's money with heartache. If the third branch didn't have such a good life, Grandma, I probably wouldn't have come to visit the Tian family. What perhaps did Tian Wenhan was sincere. You said that she didn't want to do it. The couple was definitely here for the sake of money. Old Madame Mu was not convinced and finished speaking. She didn't want to do it. Back with doubt. She didn't want to give birth to more children. She had heard the Wu clan's words. She doesn't understand what a woman's duty is. Felt that it was a little funny. Isn't it to give birth to children for her husband's family? She was really an unmarried old woman. Do you mean this woman's attitude is reasonable by others? Grandma, after knowing the Wu clan's identity, Yin, Zhao Yin'er sneered and replied, Yin'er's status is not good. I have the same opinion no matter as my father. She is the imperial madam personally I'm really not worthy of your family, so you should go back. She is absolutely worthy of voice. But her birth is not good. Tian Wenhan all looked at Zhao Yin'er's childhood Zhao Yin'er was wearing a peach pink dress. People's education is from childhood to adulthood, and it was most refreshing to wear in summer. The title of whether it was the color or the style. It was very beautiful. Be improved in addition, all of a sudden, with Zhao Yun'er's slim figure and a pearl hairpin in her hair. Seeing that she simply dressed up, still wanted to argue, just like a young lady of a big family, quickly rubbed her forehead and shouted. Where was the rough appearance of a peasant girl? If Zhao Yin'er looked at the old lady, no one would think that Zhao Yin'er was from the countryside. Old madam. Moreover, I'm not feeling well. Zhao Yin'er's skin had been nourished until it was rosy and fair. Please forgive me if I'm not making her even more attractive. With that, the last time he saw Zhao Yin'er, Madame Mu's courtyard, Zhao Yin'er was only wearing coarse clothes because she was working. As she left. At this moment, he knew that Zhao Yin'er must be angry now and didn't have to do any rough work. It was normal for a woman to feel uncomfortable. So she wore a nice dress after being put in such a difficult position. Because of this that Zhao Yin'er was different from others. And besides Zhao Yin'er, there was a 3-year-old baby. That woman is not also very delicate, not worthy of porcelain into our Shitsi. He was also wearing brocade clothes. And the fabric of the clothes was very valuable. If she is worthy or not. When this pair of mother and son walked out, people would think that they were a madam. I don't know what kind of bewitching potion she gave you. The Tian treasure a country woman like this. Who would have thought that Zhao Yin'er and her son would become like this? She will come to visit me in 2 days. Just based on Zhao Yin'er's appearance, you two brother and sister should have a good relationship like her. Try to accept It wouldn't be difficult for her to marry again. When Tian much better than that such a beautiful Zhao Yin'er. he instantly felt that he was not worthy of her. Originally,
Chapter 1942.
he had gathered his courage to come
What's
over.
wrong?
But now,
Old Madame Mu
he
raised
only
her
had
eyebrows
a
and
guilty conscience
asked,
in his heart.
Mu Lianfeng
This
thought
is
of his
Yunner
cousin's
girl?
arrogant and
Tian
domineering
Xuanyo muttered in
personality.
disbelief.
If she came back, she would definitely
Chapter
pester him.
1927.
Most importantly,
she did
the
not
Zhao
get along
family
with
has
Zhao
really
Yunner.
changed a lot
When the
compared
time
to
came,
before.
who knew what would
Tian
happen?
Xuanyo sighed.
Therefore,
if
he
they
did
had
not
known
want
that
the
the
Zhao
Zhao
family
Shuang,
would become so
nor did he
prosperous
want
one
Zhao
day,
Yunner to meet
and that
Muang
Zhao
Shuang.
Yunner would become
Grandmother,
so beautiful.
I was planning to go
Tian
back
family
tomorrow.
wouldn't have broken off
So
the
when
engagement.
cousin comes,
Zhao
I might
Yunner
not
walked
be in
to
the
the Tian
residence.
family, raised
Mu
her
Lianfeng
eyebrows and
replied
said,
awkwardly.
"What?
Old
Didn't
Madame
you
Mu
hear
could
what I
not help
said?
but ask,
Why haven't
you
you
left
left
such a
yet?"
hurry to leave?
Yunner.
Mu
Tian
Lianfeng
nodded
nodded
and
burning
said,
gaze fell
"Yes,
on Zhao
there's no
Yunner.
other way."
And he was
Grandmother,
reluctant to look
you
away.
also know that
His
the
voice
emperor's
became a
orders
little
can't be
hoarse.
delayed.
And when he
If
stared
anything
at Zhao
goes
Yunner,
wrong and the emperor
there was a
blames
little
us,
tenderness in
our
his
entire
eyes.
residence
Zhao
might
Yunner
suffer a
smiled
calamity
slightly
as a greeting.
Hearing Mu
She didn't like
Lianfeng's
the
words,
Tian
old
family
Madame
couple
Mu frowned.
But Zhao
Mu
Yunner's
Lianfeng
first
purposely
purposely
made the
Tian
situation
Wenhan
sound more
bad.
serious.
He was a
So
gentle
that
man.
old Madame Mu
After
did
all,
not dare to let
Tian
Mu
Wenhan
Lianfeng
had
help
helped
her
her
back.
before.
After
So
all,
Zhao Yunner
they were
remembered it in
working
her
for the
heart.
emperor,
And wouldn't
if
be
they
too
did not do
angry
a
at
good
people
job
who helped
and
her
the emperor
before.
blames them.
As for Tian
No one
Wenhan's
can bear the
involvement in breaking
consequences.
off the
Mu
engagement,
Lianfeng was
Zhao
different
Yunner
from
didn't
before.
blame Tian Wenhan
Now he had
for it.
learned how to lie.
In this era,
Moreover,
parents were the
when he
ones
lied,
who dictated
his
the
face did not
matchmaker's
turn
words.
red.
And
How
his
many
heart
people
did
could
not
decide
skip a
their own
beat.
marriage?
In the end,
It seems that we
it was
can't
the
not go
original
back.
Zhao Yunner who let her down,
but it's not
her.
easy for
Zhao
Zhao
Yun
to come
or
back.
didn't have much hatred
Grandmother,
for Tian Wenhan.
you just have to treat
Yunner
her well.
girl. Didn't
Why
she
don't
come
you
to see
consider
this
our
time?
family's Wenhan?
Mu
Our
Lianfeng
family's
replied
Wenhan is so
indifferently.
outstanding.
Old Madame Mu
It's your
sighed and
blessing
said,
that he's willing to
although that
propose
girl
marriage.
said she came to see
If you
me,
miss this village,
she actually
there
came
won't
to
be
see
another
you.
shop.
She has an
The
ulterior
Wu clan
motive.
continued to
Grandmother,
ask, unwilling
there's no
to
other
give
way.
up.
When
I have to
Zhao
go
Yun
back.
or heard the Wu
Now,
clan's
I
words,
have to put the nation's
she knew
affairs
that this
first
woman was
and
acting
do
like
good
her
things
son
for the
was
emperor.
the best in the world.
Old Madame
If
Mu
she
could only
married
say,
Tian Wenhan,
okay,
it would be Tian
You're
Wenhan who
right.
suffered a
You're
loss.
still young.
If she
Our
really married
residence
into the
receives a
Tian
salary
family,
from the imperial
she didn't know
court
how the Wu clan
and should
would
do
look
good
down on
things
her.
for the imperial
What's there
court.
to consider?
Since that's
I said
the
I
case,
don't
phone
agree,
her,
so
you
I
should
don't
go back
agree.
tomorrow. No matter
If you
how
have
good
time,
your son
come
is,
back to see
it's your
Grandma more
business.
often, okay?
You can find a more
Mu
suitable
Lianfeng nodded
wife.
heavily and
You
said,
don't have to find
I
me
know,
at all.
Grandma.
Don't
Zhao
worry.
Yunner coldly replied,
Grandson will definitely
the Wu clan
come back
and
to
Tian
see you when he
Xuanyo
has
looked at
time.
each other.
That's
And
good.
their eyes were filled
Old
with
Madame Mu
confusion
held
and
Mu
anger.
Lianfeng's hand
The situation
and said
was far
reluctantly.
from what they had
However,
expected.
Mu
The
Lianfeng
Zhao
wanted to
family
come back,
actually didn't
but at
agree
the same
to this
time,
marriage.
he didn't want
Tian
to come back.
Xuanyo advised.
The reason he didn't want to come
mother,
back was
since
because
he was
already
afraid
said
that
so,
Zhao
Zhao
Yunner
Yunner
would be wronged again.
With Wenhan's
However,
qualifications,
if he did not come
why does
back,
he have
he
to
would
look
have
for
to
the
abandon
Zhao
old
family to
Madame
take
Mu.
the bride?
Old Madame
Later,
Mu was already
I'll
so
ask
old,
the matchmaker
and
to
her
tell
health
them
was
how
not
many
good.
good girls he
As her
can't find.
grandson,
He actually
however,
could not
Madame
be
Wu
filial
stood
to her.
still.
He
She
felt
just
very
couldn't take
guilty.
it lying down.
After weighing the
Zhao
pros and
Yunlong
cons,
chased him away with
Mu
a dark
Lianfeng
face.
realized that he
Hurry
cared
up and
more
leave.
about Zhao Yunner.
If you don't leave,
even
don't
if she
blame
could
me
not
for
accompany
being
old
rude.
Madame Mu.
As Zhao
She would
Yunlong
never let
spoke,
Zhao Yunner
he
be
waved the
wronged.
broom in his hand, as if he was chasing him
Although
away.
it was a little
The
selfish,
Wu clan also had
there
a
was
bad
nothing he
temper.
could do about
They
it.
stood in the
By
courtyard
the way,
and
Feng,
scolded. Or it's
what
okay
kind
if
of
you
person
and
is
Miss Zhao go
this?
back.
What kind
But
of
can you let
attitude
Dao
is
to
this?
stay in the residence and
This
follow
family is
behind
really
Grandma?
strange.
Our family's Wenhan is so
Lianfeng's
good.
face was full
It's a
of
great favor
embarrassment.
for you to come
He
and
knew that
propose
Zhao
marriage.
Yunner and Daoda's
Do you
deep
really think you're
mother-son
so great
relationship
because
was
you have money?
inseparable.
You
Old
think you
Madame
can find
Mu
someone
hurriedly
better
said,
than our family's
"Fenger,
Wenhan?
you know
Because
that
you have
Grandma
money
usually
Let me
stays in
tell
the
you,
residence
that's
alone.
impossible.
If you leave,
Zhao Yun,
I want to have a
is a
companion.
woman who got pregnant
Grandma
before
likes Dada
marriage.
very much.
Ordinary
Let him
countrymen
stay by
are too
Grandma's
lazy to
side.
want her.
He can also
Otherwise,
tease me.
she
There
wouldn't
will
have
be
remained
something happy
unmarried
in my
for
life.
so many years. Our family's Wenhan is a scholar. He's also handsome. You
Chapter
can't find anyone like
1943.
him. But grandmother,
in my opinion,
Dao is used
when
to
Zhao
living in the
Yunner is a few
countryside.
years older,
He's used to being
she
with
can
me
only
and
marry
Yen
an
er.
old man
I'm
if she
afraid
wants
that
to
he
marry.
won't be used to it if Yin, and I
Chapter
leave him alone in the
1928.
residence. Or maybe the
Old
Wu
Madame
clan
Wu
really
hurriedly
thought that their
replied,
son was
"How
not
can
good
you not
enough
be
for
used to
anyone."
it?
How
Zhao
can the
Wenhua
conditions
and
in our
Liang
residence
Jinxiao
be
were very
worse than those in
unhappy
the
with the Wu
countryside?
clan's words.
Dowdy can
Even
eat,
if the
drink,
Tian
and sleep
Wenhan
well
was
in the
really
residence. They
He
couldn't
doesn't want to
belittle
live a
Zhao
good
Yin,
life.
or just
Is
because
he
the
prepared
Tian
to live a
family
hard
had
life?
rejected them.
They
Grandmother,
made it sound as
although
if
the
Zhao Yin
conditions
was
in the
really
residence are
worthless,
better,
and no
the
man was
child is
willing to
still
marry
young.
her.
He wants
However,
to stay by his
the
parents'
reality
side.
was the
Mu
opposite of what
Lianfeng
the Wu
couldn't help
clan
but
had
persuade
said.
her. Not only did
I
Zhao
see.
Yin have
Old
someone
Madame
who was
Mu
willing
murmured.
to marry her.
Finally, she
But
said,
the man was
"Why
also
don't
the
we let
current
Miss
crown
Zhao
prince.
stay in the residence?
The Tian Wenhan
If she
couldn't
stays by
compare
Dowda's
to such a
side,
noble man
Dowda
in
won't
any way.
feel uncomfortable,
Zhao
right?"
Wenhua and
Mu
Liang
Lianfeng
Jinxiao
left
were
this
about to
time,
say something
because
when
he didn't
Mu
want
Lianfeng
Zhao
came
Yin
back,
to
Mu
feel
Lianfeng
awkward
heard the
staying
Wu
in the
clan's
residence.
words and sneered.
If Zhao Yin'er
Who
stayed,
said that no
what
one
was the
wants
point?
Yin and she
If
can
he
only
wasn't
marry
in the
an old
residence
man.
and Zhao Yin'er
Mu
was
Lianfeng's
there,
cold voice
Morong
rang
Shuang
out.
might come over
The
and
Tian
treat Zhao
family
Yin'er
looked behind
unruly.
them, in
and
order
saw
to
a tall
protect
and
Zhao
noble
Yin'er
man
from being
walking over.
wronged. Judging by the man's temperament
stay
and
in the
clothes,
residence alone,
they knew that he was not an ordinary
Yin'er
person.
is used to living
the
in the
Tian
countryside.
family looked at Mu Lianfeng
She doesn't feel
curiously.
comfortable
They
living
were
in the
curious
residence.
about Mu Lianfeng's
Her parents
identity.
are also in the countryside.
Who is this man?
So she wants
While
to
the
go
Tian
back
family
with me.
was puzzled,
Old Madame
Dao
Mu
called out
immediately
sweetly
said
to Mu
unhappily,
Lianfeng.
Daddy,
Aren't you giving
the
in to
Tian
her too
family
much?
was stunned.
She's not used to living in the
Dao called
residence
Mu
now.
Lianfeng Daddy.
If she marries
Didn't
here
that
in the
mean
future,
that he was Zhao
won't she
Yin'er's
still
man?
live here?
But they
If
didn't
she's
hear
not
that
used
Zhao
to it,
Yin'er was married.
she can slowly get
How did a
used to
man
it.
appear out of nowhere?
Unless she never
Mu
enters the
Lianfeng
residence
walked over
again.
to Zhao Yin.
Mu Lianfeng
held
held
Zhao
Zhao Yin'er's
Great.
hand.
He was
He
tossed
looked at
back
Zhao
into the
Yin'er with a
residence
touch
again.
of tenderness in
Seeing
his
that
eyes.
old Madame Mu was about to get
this
angry,
is
the
the
Wu
Wu
clan
clan
couldn't
gently
help but
persuaded.
ask. They should at least figure out the
Yin'er
man's
hasn't married
identity
yet.
before
If she
Zhao
stays
Yin'er
in the
could
residence
answer.
for a long
Mu
time
Lianfeng
before she
introduced
marries
himself to the
it'll
Wu
be
clan.
hard to avoid gossip.
I'm Yin'er's future
Wait
husband.
until Yin'er marries
I'll
here.
marry Yin'er soon.
So Yin'er
Grandma,
will never
it's
marry your
decided then.
son.
I know
Of
you like
course,
Dowdu.
It's not that
when
no
I
one
have
wants
time,
her.
I'll bring
After
Dowdu
Mu
over to
Lianfeng
visit
finished
you.
speaking,
As Mu
the Wu
Lianfeng
clan's
spoke,
eyes
he
widened.
stood up to leave.
They couldn't believe
He
it.
was afraid that
The
old
man in
Madame
front
Mu
of
would
them
say
had an
something.
extraordinary identity.
Grandma, rest well.
How could he marry a
won't
woman
disturb
like
you
Zhao
any
Yin?
longer. Didn't he know
Fenger,
that Zhao Yin'er
no
was
matter how
pregnant
old
before
Madame
she
Mu
got
called out
married?
to him,
Ordinary
Mu
families
Lianfeng
wouldn't
did
be
not
willing
stop
to
walking.
marry such an
Old
indecent
Madame Mu
woman.
clutched her
let
chest
alone
in pain.
rich and powerful
The nanny
families.
next to her hurriedly
After
asked,
Mu Lianfeng finished
Old Madam,
speaking,
what's wrong?
Zhao Wenhua
Are you
added,
feeling unwell?
sister-in-law of the
Old
Tian
Mistress Mu
family
said,
maybe you don't
Hey,
know?
look at this
Our
grandson
Yin
of mine.
is going
Why
to
did he
marry
take my
Shitzi
only
soon.
great-grandson
The
with him when
Tian
he
family
left?
came to propose
Dowdu
marriage.
is the crown
But
prince
our
of the
Zhao
crown
family
prince's
really
household.
doesn't want it.
How can he be
Zhao
left to
Yin'er
suffer
saw that
outside?
Zhao Wenhua seemed to
The
be
nanny
doing it on
comforted her.
purpose.
Old
It turned
Madam,
out that her father
your
had
health
a
is not
cute
good.
side.
Please
He said
don't be
this to
sad.
vent his anger.
I can't bear
and
to
to
part
show
with
off in
Dowdu.
front of the Wu
But
clan.
Fenger insists
After
on
Zhao
taking him
Wenhua
away.
said this, he
Old
did feel
Madam,
a lot better.
the crown prince
Didn't
has
the
indeed
Tian
gone
family
overboard.
look down on people? Didn't they look down on their
But
families?
you can't be
Yin?
angry or
Now
sad
he would
because
let
of
them know
this.
what it meant to
Your
look
health
down
is
on
more
others.
important.
After all,
No matter how
the
powerful
crown prince
and
is
well-off
the
Tian
crown
Wenhan's
prince's
biological
he was
son.
still far behind
When the
Mu
crown
Lianfeng.
prince is done
The
with the
Tian
matters
family
of the
felt that
imperial
Yin'er
court,
was climbing up
won't
the
he
social
naturally
ladder.
bring the crown
But
prince
they didn't
back to live
expect
here?
that there was
Old
someone better
Madam Mu
behind
said
her.
with a worried face.
Seeing the shocked
I
faces
don't know
of
how
the
long the
Tian
matters
family,
of the imperial
Liang
court will
Jinxiao
take.
couldn't help
But
but
I'm
cover
afraid
his
I won't
mouth
live
and
for
laugh
long.
secretly.
How can
This
that be?
time he really
Old
vented
Madam,
his anger.
don't talk
It was
nonsense.
as if he had won
You
back
still
the
have to
faith
live a
he had
long
lost
life.
when the
You
engagement
will
was
definitely
broken.
be able to watch the
This
crown
is
prince
impossible.
grow up.
Brother Zhao, who do you think this is? Shitzi? This is Shitzi. Chapter 1944. Chapter
nanny
1929.
Old
Madam
Madam,
pointed at
don't
Mu
let your
Lianfeng and
imagination
asked.
run wild.
The shock in her
It's
eyes
normal
showed
for
that
old
she was
people
in
to have poor
disbelief
health,
at this moment.
but you can still
She
live
muttered,
a long life.
How is that
Trust
possible?
me.
How can this
AI,
person
I
be the
want to,
current
but it's
heir
up to the
apparent?
heavens.
Don't mislead
I hope
people.
that Feng,
How can the heir
complete the
apparent
task
be interested in
entrusted to
Yin'er
him
by the
Zhao
imperial
Yin
court
found
as
the
soon
rich
as possible?
expressions on Wu
This
Clan's
old
face
woman
very
can also
funny.
be together
Even
with
if
them
she was
as
jealous
soon
and
as
uncomfortable,
possible, and
there was
enjoy
no
the
need
rest
to
of
make
my
it
life.
so obvious,
Old
right?
Madam, he
However,
definitely will.
this slap
in
in
the
the
face
future
really made her feel
Lord
very
Shitzi
bitter.
will definitely have a few
Sister-in-law
more
of the
children
Tian family,
and make our
it's
Shitzi
not up to
estate
you to
lively.
decide whether or not he is the
I
heir
can only
apparent.
hope so.
Is it
The
useless
next
for
day,
you to say now?
Zhao Yin'er and Mu
Zhao
Lianfeng
Wenhua
packed
raised
their
her head and
luggage
said,
and returned to
Mu
Shuilan
Lianfeng's
village.
lips curled into
If
a
they
smile.
continued to stay,
He stood in front
Zhao
of Wu
Yin'er
Clan
felt
with
that
his
she
hands
wouldn't be able
clasped
to
behind
hold
his
on
back
any
and
longer.
said to Wu Clan,
Now that she heard that they
Why?
were going back,
Do you think I don't
she
look like
heaved
the
a
heir
sigh of
apparent?
relief.
Even
When
if
Mu
Mu
Lianfeng
Lianfeng
came over and
protected her,
spoke,
there was
the aura
no
on
way
his
to
body
change
was
the current
released,
situation,
and a wave of
it was
pressure
good that the
pressed
two
down
of them
on everyone's
escaped.
bodies.
The only pity
Clan
was that
was
the
shocked
wedding
by
had
this
to be
aura
delayed again,
and couldn't help but
she
tremble.
didn't know when her wedding
who
with
knows?
Mu Lianfeng would
If
be
you
held.
say you are the heir
Zhao
apparent,
Yin,
then so be
or
it.
would rather wait
There's
than
no way to
embarrass
verify
herself
it.
in terms of
Wu Clan
formality.
mumbled,
Either she
unwilling
didn't
to
want
believe
this
it.
formality,
Mu
or
Lianfeng's
she
lips
couldn't
curled.
embarrass herself
He took
too
out a
much.
waist token
Soon,
and handed
The
it
three
to
of them
Tian
returned
Wenhan.
to Shui
He
Lan
said to
village.
Tian Wenhan,
On the way, Dada
"You
was
look like a
also very
scholar.
excited.
Since that's
Although
the
they
case,
could eat a lot
you
of
should recognize
pastries and
this,
other
right?"
delicious food
Tian
that
Wenhan
couldn't
took
be
the
found
waste
in the
token and
countryside in the
glanced at it.
Shitsi estate.
Then he hurriedly
They
said
only ate a little
respectfully
more.
to Mu Lianfeng.
It was really boring
Heir
to be
apparent.
alone in the Shitsi
Seeing
estate.
Tian Wenhan's
It was better
reaction,
to have
he
many
seemed to
playmates in the
recognize it.
countryside.
If it was someone
Mother,
else who said that Wu
great-grandmother
Clan
prepared
was
a
the
lot
heir
of Dada's
apparent,
favorite
she wouldn't
osmanthus
believe it.
pastry.
However,
and mung bean cake
since
for
Tian
Dadu.
Wenhan said
Dada
it,
wants to go
she
back
had to
and give it
believe
to
it
little
even
uncle
if she didn't
Sanner,
want to.
and big
Tian
sister
Wenhan
Hua
couldn't lie.
Dada's little
Wu
face was
Clan's
full of
lips trembled
smiles
as
as she
she
smiled at
moved
Zhao
closer to
Yin
Tian
or
Wenhan and
Zhao Yin,
asked,
or patted
"Wenhan,
Dada's
are
head
you
and
sure?
replied,
Is this
Dada,
person
good
really
job.
the heir apparent?"
Good things should be shared
Tian
with your
Wenhan
friends,
said
with a sullen face.
"Yes, yes,
Mother,
it's too
how could I
boring
be
to eat
wrong?
alone.
I've read
It's
about
better
the
to eat with
nobility in
everyone."
books and teachers.
Dada smiled sweetly.
Although he didn't
The
want to
smile
admit
on
it,
his face
it
could
was the
melt
truth.
anyone's heart.
He couldn't deny
Zhao
it,
Yin's
right?
face was
Mu
filled
Lianfeng
with
took back
gratification.
the waste token
It was
in
rare
Tian
to see
Wenhan's
such a
hand and
sensible
said,
child at such a
"Auntie,
young
since
age.
it's proven,
Children's
I hope you don't
education
speak
was very
nonsense."
important. Children who were
warning
taught well
tone
would
was very
naturally
obvious.
understand more.
Wu Clan's
Dada's
mother's
face
mother
suddenly darkened.
Zhao Yinhua
asked
and Liang
curiously,
Jinxiao faced Madame
"Why are you
Tian
unhappy
and
all of a
felt very
sudden?"
proud.
Mother,
Back then,
Dadu is
it was
thinking
one
that
thing
little
for the
sister
Tian family
Tian
to
is
break
too
off the
young.
engagement.
He brought so many
but they
mung
also
bean
said a
cakes
lot
and
of
unpleasant
unpleasant
cookies.
things.
They
But little
trampled on the
sister
third
Tian
branch,
can't eat them.
not giving them
Zhao
any
Yin'er
face
was
at all.
amused by Dada's
Zhao
words.
Yin
She
had
was
already
wondering what
suffered a
Dada
blow
was
from that
thinking.
incident.
So this was
Coupled
what he was
with the
thinking.
Tian family's disturbance.
It's fine.
She almost
Little
died.
sister Tian
Fortunately, they
will
had
be able to
endured
eat
through
it when
everything.
she's older.
It was really
Can't
a case
Dada
of
bring
guarding
some
them
to her
out
in the
and
future
until the sun
Mother,
came out.
How long
Now
will
it was
take
the
for little
Tian
sister
family
Tian
that was
to
the
grow
face
up?
of the three branches.
Since
Why don't you
if
leave?
she wants to have teeth like Dadu,
in the
and be
future,
able to
our
eat
Yin'er
these
will marry
things,
the heir
it'll
apparent.
take at least a year.
Zhao Wenhua waved his
Dada
hand
counted
and
with
urged
his
them to
fingers.
leave.
He was
Tian
only 3 years
Shuinyou
old.
hurriedly pulled the
If
Wu
Tian
clan back.
had to wait until
That's
she
enough.
was a
Wen
year
Han's
old,
mother.
it would be a
Let's
long
go.
time.
It's embarrassing
Dada
to
sighed
stay
heavily.
here any longer.
Little sister
Why
Tian
bother?
is so pitiful.
Wu Clan looked at
It'll
the
take
third
a long
branch
time before
unwillingly.
she can eat them.
Seeing the faint
Although
smile on
little
their
sister
faces,
Tian
they
can't
felt
eat
that
them.
they had lost
She'll
all face
definitely
today.
know that Dada
If they
cares
had
about
known
her.
this would happen,
She'll be
they
very
wouldn't
touched.
have come.
Zhao Yin'er patted Dada's head and comforted him.
Chapter 1930.
Mother, is that true?
Originally,
Of course, they thought that if Zhao Yin'er could marry into the Tian family, the Zhao family would
Chapter
definitely
1945.
agree. Moreover,
Zhao Yin'er
had a gratified smile on
who
her
was
face.
climbing up their
And
Wenhan social
Dada
ladder.
really dotes on
Who
his
knew
little
that
sister.
Zhao Yin'er's family
He was such a
powerful
man
that they
at
even
such a young
recognized
age.
the Shitsi.
It was a blessing
More
to be his little
importantly,
sister.
The Shitsi
If they were
was
in the
willing to marry
21st
Zhao
century,
Yin'er.
no
Many
wonder the
girls
Zhao
would be
family
envious
looked
of
down
having
on the
such a
Tian
brother.
family.
Of
It
course,
turned out
Dada
that there
only
was
has
someone
one
better
little sister,
behind them.
Tian.
Just now,
Who else would
the
he dote
Wu
on if
clan's
not
words
Tian
were like a
Tian?
slap to their own
Dada's
face.
little face
The
lit
Tian
up with a
family
beautiful
naturally
smile.
couldn't keep their
Zhao
faces.
Yin'er asked curiously,
Being pulled by Tian
then if mother
Shuinyou,
gives birth to a
the
little
Wu clan
sister
had
for
no
Dadu,
choice
will
but to
Dada
leave the
dote on
third
her?
branch's courtyard.
Dada answered
However,
without hesitation.
before leaving,
Of course,
they still said
he'll
unwillingly.
dote on her just like how
Really?
he dotes
Isn't
on
it
little
just
sister
because she
Tian
climbed
Tian?
up to the Shitsi
Then
that
what
she
if
looks
mother
down
gives
on our
birth
Wenhan?
to a little brother for
Despising
Dadu?
the poor and loving
Dadu
the
was
rich.
silent for a
This
moment
kind of
after being
person will
asked by
also be
Zhao
wanted.
Yin'er.
The third branch was a
seeing
little
Dada's
speechless.
tightly knitted brows.
What did he mean by
Zhao Yin'er was
despising the
amused by
poor
Dadu
and loving the rich?
When it came to a
Could
little
it be
sister,
that when there was
he could
someone
answer
with
without
better
hesitation?
He
But
would
when
still
it came
choose
to a
someone
little
with
brother,
worse conditions
he became
to be
like
with.
this.
As long
It
as
seemed
there was
that older
nothing wrong with
brothers
her
were
head,
indeed nicer
she should
to their
know how
little
to
sisters.
choose.
Of
What's
course,
wrong?
the most
Does Dada
important
not
thing
like little
was that
brothers?
Mu Yanfeng was
Dada
Dada's
shook his
biological
head.
father.
No,
Zhao
I just
Yin'er
think
and
that
Mu
if mother
Yanfeng were
gave
in love
birth
with
to
each
a little
other,
brother,
Mu
he
Yanfeng
wouldn't be
treated
as
Zhao
cute as a
Yin'er
little
and her son
sister.
extremely well.
He's a man.
How many
He can
men could
protect
compare
himself
to him
and take
after
care of
the Wu
himself
clan
in the
finished
future?
speaking?
Why would
Tian
he need
Wenhan
Dada
said
to
to
the
the
Wu
Wu
clan with a
Dada
serious
said
face?
in a soft voice,
Mother, don't
after
say
he
such
finished
things.
speaking, he asked
Yin,
Zhao Yin'er,
choosing the
Mother,
Shitsi
don't you
is
think so?
understandable. Zhao
After
Yin'er
all,
and Mu
I
Lianfeng
really
looked at
can't
each
compare
other.
to the Shitsi.
Both of them couldn't
If
hide the
Yin'er can
smile
live
on
a
their
good
faces.
life with the Shitsi
Children's
in the
words
future,
were so pure.
I will also be
Zhao
happy
Yin'er
in my
secretly
heart.
prayed that she would
Tian
give birth to a
Wenhan
girl.
said this to the Wu
If
clan,
she gave birth
and
to
also
a boy,
to Zhao
it
Yin'er,
would definitely
although
be
he was
better
a
than
little
girl.
sad that the woman
A little
he loved
brother
was
is
with
still
another
young,
man,
and doesn't
still
know how
hoped
to
that Zhao
protect
Yin'er
himself.
could live a good life.
If mother gives
and that
birth
Zhao
to a
Yin'er
little
could be
brother
happy.
for Dadu,
If he couldn't
Dada
give it
should
to
also
her,
take good
at
care of
least
his
there were
little
other
brother.
men who could help her.
Understand?
Tian
Mu
Wenhan's gaze
Lianfeng
fell on
patted
Zhao
Dada's
Yin'er.
head and
He was
lectured him.
nervous, but
If
he
that's
was reluctant
the case,
to look away.
then Dadu
no
will
matter
also
how
dote on
reluctant
his little
he was,
brother
he
in
had
the
to
future.
leave.
Dada
Yin'er
said
sorry for
thoughtfully,
disturbing you
Good.
today.
It didn't
My
take
mother
long
and
for
I
them
shouldn't
to
have
arrive
come.
at the village.
I wish you
Zhao
and the crown
Yin'er's
prince a
courtyard.
long and happy
After
life
staying
together.
at the heir's residence
Tian
for a few
Wenhan
days,
left these words
she felt more
as
and
if
more
he was
comfortable
remembering
at home.
something. In the
Then he
courtyard
turned
of
around
Zhao Yin'er's
and
house
pulled Tian
sat several
Shuinyou and the
sisters-in-law
Wu
of the
clan.
Zhao family.
Dad, Mom, let's
The
go.
women liked to
Don't
chat
embarrass
together
yourself
after they
here.
were done with their work.
Yes.
Zhao Yin'er's new
Wenhan's
house
mother
was big.
Let's hurry
so
up
they
and
liked
leave.
to come over and
the
play
Wu clan
together.
had no choice but
Seeing
to
that
leave.
Zhao Yin'er Yin'er
They
and
followed
Mu
Tian
Lianfeng
Wenhan and Tian Shuangyo out of Zhao Yun'er's courtyard and said,
"On the way,
Yin'er,
the Wu clan
you've
looked
only
for
stayed
Tian
for a few
Wenhan again
days.
to confirm.
Why are you back so
Wenhan,
soon?
do you think that
Mother,
person is an
do you
imposter?
not welcome me back?
How could he be the
Zhao
crown
Yin'er
prince?
pretended to be
Tian
angry and
Wenhan's
asked.
face was full
Liang
of sadness.
Jinxiao explained.
How could that
He
be?
said helplessly.
I thought you were going to
Mom,
stay for a
if
while
someone
this time.
impersonates the
I
crown
didn't
prince,
expect
they
that
will
you would
be
only
beheaded.
stay for a
Who
few
would
days.
dare to impersonate him? Hearing that he would
Zhao
be
Yin'er
beheaded,
naturally
the
wouldn't
Wu
tell
clan
Liang
quickly shut
Jinxiao
up.
the reason why
Indeed,
she came back.
no one dared
She
to
was
joke
afraid
about
that
this.
she would be worried.
However,
she was
Dao Da's
still
father
shocked
came
and
back because he
uncomfortable.
has something to
Not
do.
only did they make
no
a trip
wonder.
for nothing,
Important
but
matters
they also
are more
returned
important.
with a belly full
Yin'er,
of anger.
go in and rest.
Today,
Mother
the third
and your
branch
father
of the
will
Zhao
take
family
care of
was
the things in
obviously
the arrogant
arrogant
in front of the
Liang
Tian
Jinxiao
family.
said,
Speaking
as
of
if she was
which,
afraid that
that
Zhao
Yin'er
Yin'er
girl
would
is
be
really
tired.
not human.
It's okay,
The Wu
Mother.
clan pushed the
I'm not
blame to
tired.
Zhao Yun'er.
We'll carry it
Tian
ourselves.
Wenhan frowned and
Mu
said
Lianfeng
helplessly.
also said,
Mom,
Auntie, some
how
things
could
are
this have
heavier.
anything to do
Let
with
me do
Yin'er?
it. Liang Jinxiao didn't refuse. Chapter 1931.
Okay, let's do it together.
Tian Wenhan was silent
Zhao
for a
Yun'er's
moment.
aunts and aunts
He
also
thought of
came
Mu
forward to
Lianfeng,
help.
that tall and upright man. Whether it was status, appearance, or attitude
Chapter
toward Zhao Yun'er,
1946.
he was much
Please
better than
refresh
him.
the previous
How could he
picture
compare
if you
with
don't
Mu
think it's
Lianfeng?
the right one?
Regardless
Feng
of whether
Zhangxiao
Zhao
listened
Yun'er
to
had
the
a change of
things in
heart
Zhao
or
Yun'er's
not,
car,
choosing
which
Mu
were piled
Lianfeng
up
was
like a
definitely
mountain.
the best.
She could tell
As
that
a
these
man,
things were
he
expensive
could tell
at a
from the way
glance.
Mu Lianfeng looked at Zhao
Shitsi was
Yun,
the best.
or that he was from a
sincere
wealthy
about her.
family.
Wasn't
There
it
were
a
so many
blessing
good
for
things
Zhao
at
Yun?
home, or that
Little
a person
girl
of such noble
you've
status
brought back
could
a
be
lot
like
of good
this.
things this time.
He felt ashamed
What
in
are they?
front of Mu Lianfeng.
Why don't you tell us about
How
it?
could he extravagantly
Feng
ask
Zhangxiao
Zhao
asked
Yun
in a flattering
or
tone.
to trust Mu
Zhao
Lianfeng
Yun'er
and
said
choose to be with
faintly,
him?
nothing.
In the end,
Eldest
he was
aunt,
the one who
you
let
won't know
Zhao
even
Yun'er
if I
down in
tell
the
you.
past. After all,
Originally,
you haven't
he
seen
came
them
here
before.
today to see if
They
he
are
would
all
have this
things that we
opportunity,
country people
but
can't
now
afford.
it seemed impossible.
Zhao Yun'er
He
knew that
relied
Feng
on their
Zhangxiao
friendship in the
liked to
past
take advantage
and
of
thought
small
that Zhao
things.
Yun'er might still
How could
like
she be
him
willing to
and
tell
might
Feng
consider him.
Zhangxiao these good
Today,
things?
he came here to
Feng
see everything
Zhangxiao pursed her
clearly,
lips and said,
so he naturally gave
Yun'er,
up.
if you don't tell
Therefore,
us, in
we
the
won't
face
know
of
what
Wu
they are.
Clan's words,
Why don't you
Tian
introduce
Wenhan
them
said
to
with
us?
a cold face.
Zhao Yun'er
Mother,
snorted
don't
softly.
say that.
Our
Eldest
Tian
aunt,
family
look at
let
what
Yun'er
you
down
said.
in the past.
There are so many
It's
things
been
in
a
the
few
car.
years.
How can
Isn't
I
it
introduce
natural
them
for
to you
Yin
one by
to
one?
find a better husband?
Liang Jinxiao
Why do
was
you
a little
continue to
embarrassed
wait for
and
me?
said to Feng Zhangxiao,
You're protecting that girl.
sister-in-law.
I don't
They
see
are
you
all
showing
moving
any
into the
mercy
house
in the
now.
past.
Yun'er doesn't
Before
have
Wu
so
Clan
much
could
time to
continue
introduce them
nag.
slowly.
Tian Wenhan
Feng
replied,
Zhangxiao was not a fool.
Mother, if you
How could
continue,
she
I'll
not
get
know
angry.
that this was an excuse?
Tian Shuinyou
Staring
hurriedly
at the
patted
things
Wu
in the
Clan's
car.
back.
Feng
Okay,
Zhangxiao said with
Wenhan's
a little
mother,
jealousy,
don't say anymore.
I can't help
Don't
it.
you think it's
I'm not as
embarrassing
lucky
enough?
as you, third
Wu
sister-in-law.
Clan finally shut
You have
up.
such a capable
Her face
daughter
full
like
of hidden
Yun'er.
bitterness.
We country
After
people
the
are not
Tian
qualified
Wenhan
to
family
know
left,
these good things.
the people of the
Liang
third branch
Jinxiao
acted
smiled embarrassedly
as if they had driven
and did
away
not
the
know how
plague.
to respond.
Zhao Wenhua
Zhao
grumbled,
Yun'er replied
this Tian
indifferently.
family is really
Eldest
inhumane.
aunt, what are you
Why
talking
did they
about?
have to come to our
When
house to
eldest
cause
cousin
trouble?
passes the provincial
It's good that they're
examination
gone.
and becomes
It's a
an
good thing
official,
that young Master
there will be
Shitsi
many
is here.
good things for
Otherwise,
eldest aunt to
who
recognize
knows what kind
in
of
the
joke
future.
our family will be.
Liang Jinxiao
Yes,
hurriedly responded.
It's all thanks to the Crown Prince.
Yun'er is right.
Mu Lianfeng helped
Sister-in-law,
Zhao Yun'er and
when
Dao
Tianlong's
back to their
child
room.
passes the
He didn't
provincial
expect that
examination
Zhao Yun
and becomes an
had been
official.
engaged to
You will
another
also
man
have
before.
these good things.
Thinking about it,
After
if
hearing
it wasn't
Zhao
because
Yun'er
Zhao
and
Yun'er
Liang
was
Jinxiao's
pregnant with
words,
Dao Du,
Feng
it was
Zhangxia's mood
estimated
improved
that
a
Zhao
lot.
Yun'er and Tian
Thinking
Wenhan
about
would
it,
be
it was
together.
reasonable.
Mu Lianfeng
Tianlong was
secretly
so good at
rejoiced.
studying.
He really
It was
couldn't
very
imagine that
reasonable
his
for
Yun'er
him
had become
to
another
pass the
man's
provincial
wife.
examination.
Perhaps what happened
When
before was
Tianlong
God's
became an
arrangement.
official,
She would be an
otherwise,
official's
he
wife.
was afraid that he wouldn't be
Right
able
now,
to find
the
another
third
woman
branch
to
was
love
just
like
one
Zhao
step
Yun'er
ahead
in
of
the
the first
lifetime.
branch.
So there was nothing
it
to be
to go
jealous
to
of.
Shitsi Manor.
Feng Zhangxiao
Before
raised her
going,
chin.
Zhao
Yun'er
Yun'er was
and
a little
third
nervous
sister-in-law
and
are
worried.
right.
She was
hope that
afraid that
Tianlong
Matriarch
can pass
Mu
the
didn't like
provincial
her.
examination
After
as
all,
soon as possible.
Matriarch Mu was
so that
Mu
our old
Lianfeng's
Zhao family
biological
can bring
grandmother
glory to our family.
If Matriarch Mu
After
could
all,
accept her,
Tianlong
would
will
reduce the
definitely be the
conflict
first
between
person in
grandfather
our
and
old Zhao
grandson.
family to pass the provincial
She
examination.
wouldn't add to Mu Lianfeng's worries
Sister-in-law,
because of her.
You can rest assured.
Zhao Yun'er dressed up
Tianlong
early
is
in the
very
morning.
smart. She took off the coarse clothes that she
This
usually
time,
wore.
He will
and
definitely
changed
pass
into an
the provincial
exquisite silk
examination.
This
Liang
dress was made
Jinxiao
of the
did
cloth
not know
sent
where
by
he
the
learned to
emperor,
flatter,
so
but
she
he
was
said it
dressed
to
very
Feng Zhangxiao.
luxuriously.
That's
She
right.
combed her hair into a
Tianlong
bun
is God's
and
favorite
wore
son.
jewelry that the
There is
emperor
no
gave
other
her.
person like him
After
in the whole
dressing up,
Shuilan
Zhao
village.
Yun'er added a
It's
bit
not
of
that there is
nobility
no
to
other
her body.
person like him in
Although her
Shuinan
appearance
village
wasn't the best,
there is no other
it was still
person like him in
delicate.
the whole
and
town.
made people feel comfortable looking at her.
Yes, it is difficult to find him in the whole town.
After a round
Chapter
of flattery,
1932.
the things in the
Bringing
carriage
their
had been
things,
moved into the house.
family of three
Feng
rushed to the
Zhangxiao
Shitsi
wanted the
mansion.
things that Zhao
Mu
Yun'er brought
Lianfeng
back,
had sent a
but
message
she
to
was
old
too
Madame
embarrassed
Mu,
to ask,
saying that he
she
was
could
going
only
back
wait
to
for the other
accompany her
sisters
for the
in law to
festival.
speak.
Early
She
in the
thought that
morning,
the other
old
sisters-in-law
Madame
were the
Mu
same
and
as
the
her.
servants of the
Qian
Shitsi
Juzao
mansion
and
were
Li
waiting for
Chuiying
Mu
did not
Lianfeng's
mention a
return
word
at the door. This made Feng
because of the
Zhangxia very
imperial court
anxious.
matters. Mu Yanfeng was using this as an excuse to not return to the Shitzi mansion.
Chapter 1947.
Grandfather and grandson had not been together for a long
behind
time.
the house.
As one
having
grew
a lot
older,
of fun alone.
they naturally
Feng
hoped that their
Zhangxia walked up to
grandchildren
Zhao
could be
Tianyu
by their
and called
side.
out to him.
In addition,
Zhao Tianyu looked
old
up at
Madame
Feng
Mu only
Zhangxia
had one
unhappily
relative
and
said,
Mu Yanfeng,
"Aunt, you're
so she
blocking
missed him
me.
even more.
What are you doing?"
When she heard that Mu
Facing Zhao
Yanfeng was
Tianyu's
going back
impolite
to the
behavior,
Shitzi mansion
Feng
to celebrate
Zhangxia
the
was not
Dragon Boat
angry.
Festival.
Instead, she
Old
smiled
Madame
and
Mu
said,
was very excited.
"Tianyu, do you want to
Early
eat
in the
something
morning,
delicious?"
She brought
Zhao
the
Tianyu
servants to
paused
wait
and
at the
replied
door.
proudly,
At about 8
"Aren't you
o'clock in the
talking
morning,
nonsense?"
the carriage
Of course I
slowly
want to
stopped
eat.
at the door of the
Feng
Shitzi
Zhangxia
mansion.
smiled and
Mu
said,
Yanfeng walked
"You want
out
to
of the
eat
carriage
something good?"
first.
Let me
Before
tell you,
old Madame Mu
your
could
sister
greet him
Yuner brought
excitedly.
back a lot of
She
delicious
saw two
food.
more people coming out of the
Zhao Tianyu's
carriage.
eyes turned.
One was
He
Zhao
wanted to
Yuner,
eat,
and the other
but he
was
knew
Dao
that it
Du.
was not easy
Old
to get
Madame Mu
food
was
from
very
Zhao
familiar
Yuner.
with Dao
So
Du,
he replied
and
unhappily,
liked this child even
"What
more.
does it have to do
When
with
she
me
first
that
saw
she brought
Dao
it
Du,
back?
she felt
Anyway,
a sense of closeness.
she won't give it to me.
As for Zhao Yuner,
Well, you can still eat
old
it."
Madame Mu did
Zhao
not
Tianyu
recognize her
continued
at
to
first
pull
glance
weeds,
because this
as
time,
if he had no interest.
Zhao Yuner was very
Feng
different from
Zhangxia
the
did not
last
continue
time.
to argue
After
and said
observing
directly,
Zhao Yun'er's appearance,
Tianyu,
you
old
can ask
Madame
your
Mu
mother
was able
for
to
it.
determine who
Ask your
Zhao
mother
Yuner
to
was.
talk to your third
Grandma,
aunt.
they will
After
definitely
Mu
give it
helped
to
Zhao
you.
Yun'er and Dao Du
Auntie,
down.
is that true?
He turned to
Zhao
old
Tianyu
Madame Mu
asked
and
in
called out to
disbelief.
her.
Feng
Old
Zhangxia
Madame Mu
nodded
came
quickly
quickly
her
and said,
senses.
"Of
and
course
grabbed
it's
Mu
true.
Lianfeng's hand.
How can I lie to you
Feng,
about
you're
this?
finally back.
Zhao Tianyu
Grandma
got up
missed
and
you
said,
so much.
"Well, I'll go
Mu
talk to my
Lianfeng's
mother."
nose twitched. Feng
How could he
Zhangxia
not
hurriedly
miss her?
reminded him.
No matter what,
Tianyu,
old Madame
eldest
Mu
aunt
was
is
his
thinking about
biological
you.
grandmother.
She wants you to
She
cook
had raised
something
him
delicious.
single-handedly.
Don't tell her
It was
that
not
it's eldest
matriarch
aunt
Mu's
who told you
objection to
this.
Zhao Yun'er.
I know.
How could he bear to leave
Zhao
for such a
Tianyu
long
answered
time?
impatiently,
Grandma
and hurried
Feng
to the
misses
front
you
of the
too.
yard.
Mu
Feng
Lianfeng choked with
Zhangxia
sobs.
continued to dawdle
Old
for a
Madame Mu
while,
patted Mu
and pretended
Lianfeng's
to go
hand
to
and
the
said,
toilet.
"It's
Then
good that
she
you're
slowly
back.
went to the
It's
front
good that you're
yard.
back."
Zhao Tianyu
Hurry up
came
and
up
enter
to
the
Li
mansion
Chuanying
and
Grandma
waved her
has
hand.
prepared your favorite
"Mother,
dishes.
I want to
You
eat
haven't
delicious
eaten since you
food.
came back
I want
so
to eat
early in the
delicious
morning,
food,
right?"
Li Chuanying
Mu
looked at Zhao
Lianfeng
Tianyu,
responded,
Li
but did
Chuanying
not
frowned.
rush into the mansion.
"What nonsense are you
Instead,
talking
he
about?"
pulled Zhao Yun'er
"Where
and
can I
Dao
get
Du's
you
hands
something
and said
delicious
to old
to
Madame
eat?"
Mu.
Zhao Tianyu
Grandma,
pointed
I
at the
brought
things
Yun'er
that
and
Zhao
Dao
Yun'er
Yu
had brought back into
Speaking
the
of
house
Zhao
and
Yun,
said,
old
"Mother,
Madame Mu frowned
Sister
slightly.
Yun'er brought back
It
so
was
much
obvious
delicious
that she
food.
still did not like
I want
Zhao
to eat it
Yun'er.
too." After
Li
glancing at
Chuanying
Zhao
looked
Yun'er
embarrassed.
indifferently,
What
she
Zhao
asked
Yun'er
Mu
brought
Lianfeng
back was brought back by
"Feng,
Zhao
why did
Yun'er.
you bring this
It had
woman
nothing
back?"
to do with her
Before
family.
Mu Lianfeng
Could it
could
be
answer,
that she was going to
Dao Du
ask
took
Zhao
a step
Yun'er for
forward
it?
and put on
Good
his
boy,
signature
Tianyu.
smile.
Don't make a fuss. Those
He
are
looked at
Sister
old
Yun'er's
Madame
food.
Mu and said
What
softly,
do you want to eat?
"Great
I'll buy it in
grandmother,
Yang City
Dao
when I
Du
have
and Mother
time."
are here to
Zhao
celebrate the
Tianyu
Dragon
pursed his
Boat
lips and
Festival
said
with his
stubbornly,
grandmother.
"Mother,
Great grandmother,
you've said this
don't
so
you
many
want Dao Du
times.
and Mother to
You
come?"
still haven't bought
Old
anything
Madame Mu
delicious
took
for
a
me.
look at the delicate
I don't
baby.
care.
His
I want
face
it.
was not much
I want
different
it.
from Mu Lianfeng's.
Zhao Tianyu said
She
as
liked
he
him
sat
very
on the
much.
ground without
In
caring
addition,
about
Dao Du's
anything
smile
else.
was really
He
irresistible.
opened his legs wide.
Old Madame
and
Mu's
looked like
heart
he was
melted
acting
for a moment.
shamelessly.
Her
Li
displeasure
Chuanying
towards
looked
Zhao
at him
Yun'er
helplessly
dissipated a lot
and
because
hurriedly
of Dao
tugged
Du.
at Zhao Tianyu.
"Child, what are you doing?"
Chapter
Get up
1933.
Dao Du raised his cute little face
Mother,
and asked,
I want to eat
"Great
delicious
grandmother,
food.
if
Do you
I
miss
can't
Dao
eat
Du these
delicious
days?
food,
I
Old
won't get
Madame
up."
Mu hurriedly said.
Seeing that Zhao
"Yes, of
Tianyu was
course I
being
do.
disobedient,
Dao Du is so
Li
obedient and
Chuanying was
cute.
so angry
How
that
can
her
great
chest heaved
grandmother
up and
not
down.
miss you?" She urged
Dao
him.
Du continued
"Get
to
up,
smile
up.
sweetly.
If you don't
and
get
fawn
up,
over
Mother
old
will
Madame
be
Mu.
angry. Dao Du misses
No, I
great
won't.
grandmother too.
I want to eat good food.
Haha.
Otherwise,
Madame
I
Mu
won't
was
get
in a
up.
good mood. She was amused by Dao Du and smiled. She beckoned Dao Du to come to her.
Chapter
Dao
1948.
Du, come here. Are you
Let
going to get up or
great-grandmother
not?
take a look at
If
you.
you don't get up,
Dao Du
I'm going
obediently
to beat
went
you
to
with
old
the
Madame
stick.
Mu.
Zhao
I haven't
Tianyu was
seen you
not
for a
afraid
while.
of Li Chuanying's
Dao Du
threat
has
at
indeed
all.
grown a lot
He
taller.
showed his trump card
You're
and
not as
sat on
thin
the
as
ground
before.
crying. "This is
Mother,
good.
you're
This
so
is not
mean.
good.
You won't
Old
give me
Madame
good
Mu's
food to
eyes
eat.
were full of the
I
love
won't
of
like
an
you
elder to
anymore."
a junior.
Li
She
Chuanying
did not
sighed
hide her
heavily
love for
when
Dao
she
Du.
saw Zhao
Zhao
Tianyu
Yun'er
crying.
guessed that it was
She
because
wondered
of
why
their
she had
blood
given birth
relationship.
to such a son,
Old Madame Mu
who
did
liked
not
to
know
make a
that
fuss
Dao
in
Du was
front
her
of her.
great-grandson.
Zhao Tianyu's
But she liked
spoiled
Dao
and
Du
willful
very much.
temperament had something
Dao
to
Du
do with
smiled
her.
and looked at Zhao
If she had
Yun'er.
not spoiled
Then
Zhao
he said to
Tianyu
old
too
Madame
much,
Mu,
Zhao Tianyu would not have
"Great-grandmother,
become like
Dao Du
this.
can grow taller
She could
and
not
fatter
continue
because
to
of
spoil
Mother.
him.
Mother
Otherwise,
cooks delicious
who
food
knew
for
what
Dao
Zhao
Du every
Tianyu would
day.
become in the
If you
future.
eat well,
Just
you
as
will
Li
naturally
Chuanying
grow
was
well.
about to teach Zhao
Dao Du
Tianyu a
could not
lesson
stop
with the
talking
stick.
about Zhao
Liang
Yun'er.
Jinxiao
Although he
hurriedly
was a
stopped
child,
her.
he knew how
Second
to make Zhao
sister-in-law
Yun'er
forget
have a
it.
good
impression
The
of
child
him in
needs
front
some
of old
food.
Madame Mu.
Don't hit him.
Zhao Yin'er knew
Third
her precious
sister-in-law,
son's
don't
little
stop
idea.
me.
She
Where do you
sighed
think
in
I'm
her
going to
heart
get
that she
food
did
for
not
him?
raise him in
I'll
vain.
ask Yin'er to
He
get
was
some
her
for you.
biological son
Tianyu
after
is still
all.
young.
Old
He
Madame
only
Mu
eats a
glanced
little.
at Zhao Yin.
He hasn't
Her
done
and her
anything
expression
bad.
became better.
As Liang
She
Jinxiao
patted
spoke,
Daoda's head
he
and
walked
said,
in front of Zhao
"It's
Yin'er
natural
and
for your
discussed
mother
with
to
Zhao
take care
Yin'er.
of you."
Among the things they
Otherwise,
brought
she
back,
would not be
Zhao
qualified.
Yin'er had prepared a box of
Great-grandmother,
pastries
that's
for
right.
the second branch
Mother's
of the
cooking
family.
is really delicious.
Now, she simply
It's better
gave it
than
to Li
ordinary
Chuiying.
people's cooking.
She took out a box of
Great-grandmother,
pastries and
do you want
handed
to
it
try
to Li
Mother's
Chuiying.
cooking?
I'm sure
Second
you'll like
auntie
it
here,
too.
these are for your
When
family.
it came to Daodu,
Have you tried the
old Madame
pastries
Mu
from Yang
realized
City?
that she could not
They
reject
taste very
him at
good.
all. Li
This child's
Chuiying saw
words
the
and smiles were
exquisite
too
pastries
contagious
and was too
It was very
embarrassed to
likable.
accept them.
Old
They were
Madame Mu
obviously
replied with a
very
smile.
valuable.
All
She
right,
could accept
then I'll
ordinary
have to
things,
trouble you to cook
but she
some
was
of your
too
best
ashamed to
dishes for me
accept
to
such
try.
valuable things.
Yes, yes.
Daodu
Yin'er
nodded
nodded
heavily
heavily
in
in
response.
response. You should keep the good stuff
Originally,
for yourself.
Zhao Yin'er
Why did you
felt
make it for
awkward
me?
facing old Madame
Second
Mu.
sister-in-law.
Now, because
Don't
of
be so
Daoda's
polite.
mediation,
Yin'er asked
the
you to
atmosphere
take
was
it,
much
so
more
just take
harmonious.
it.
Liang
Alright, let's go
Jinxiao
in.
stuffed the cake
Grandma,
into Li
don't
Chuanying's
stand
hand.
for too long.
Your legs and
Li
feet are
Chuanying
not
still
good.
wanted to
It will
refuse,
hurt if you stand
but
for
Zhao
too
Tianyu
long.
immediately
Mu
rushed to Li
Lianfeng said
Chuanying's
considerately,
side
and
Old
snatched
Madame
the
Mu
pastries
nodded.
from Li
She held
Chuanying's
out his
hands.
hand with one
He grabbed
hand
one and
and
stuffed
walked
it into
into
his
his house
mouth
with the other.
By the time
Mu
Li
Lianfeng
Chuanying
smiled
reacted,
gently at Zhao
Zhao
Yin'er.
Tianyu had
Then
already
he held
eaten
Zhao
one
Yin'er's
and was
hand
about
and
to
walked
grab
into
a
the
second
house.
one.
Mu
Mu Lianfeng
Lianfeng
leaned close
Li
to Zhao
Chuanying
Yin'er's
looked at
ear
Zhao
and
Tianyu
whispered,
helplessly.
"Yin'er, look,
At this
Grandma
moment,
likes
she
Dada
couldn't
so
return
much.
it to Zhao
If
Yin
she
even
knows
if
that
she wanted
Dadu
to.
is her
Liang
biological
Jinxiao
grandson,
patted Li Chuanying's
she will
shoulder
definitely
and
be
said,
very happy
"Okay,
and agree
okay.
to our marriage."
The child ate it.
Don't argue with the
Zhao
child.
Yin'er knew that Mu
Li
Lianfeng
Chuanying
was just
replied
comforting her.
apologetically.
Old
Third
Mistress Mu had
sister-in-law,
yet to speak.
you and Yin'er have
so
spent
everything
so much
was
money.
still unknown.
Second
They entered the
sister-in-law,
house. What are
and
you
sat
saying?
at the table to
We're
eat
family.
breakfast. Why are you
Old
being
Madame
so
Mu
polite?
prepared a lot
Feng
of delicious
Zhangxia
food.
saw that she had
However,
succeeded in her
Zhao
goal
Yin'er
and
did not
hurriedly
want to
chimed
eat too
in.
greasy food
That's
early
right,
in the morning.
second sister-in-law.
So she picked the
You
bland
and third
food
sister-in-law
and ate a
are
little.
too polite.
However,
We're
Old Madame
sisters-in-law,
Mu
not
found it
others.
interesting.
We're family. Why are you being so polite? Chapter 1934.
Zhao
Yin'er gave
Yin'er
it to
hurriedly
you,
said,
so
no.
just accept it.
Then why don't I
She's
see
filial
Miss Zhao
to you.
eating?
Our old
Isn't it
Zhao
not to your
family
liking?
is blessed to have
Old
such
Madame
a filial
Mu's daughter
daughter
was a
like
little
Yin'er.
unhappy.
The reason
Zhao
why
Yin'er's
she
heart
flattered
was
Zhao
very
Yin'er
tired
was that
she
she
just
wanted
ate a little
Zhao
less,
Yin'er to take out
and
the
she
first
didn't
branch's
deliberately
share.
not eat.
Li
Now
Chuanying
she was
smiled
full
and didn't say
but
anything.
in Old Madame Mu's
His heart
eyes,
still ached
she
for the
deliberately
box of
didn't
pastries
eat.
Zhao Yin'er
Old
gave him.
Madam,
I like to eat light food in the morning. I can't swallow big fish and meat. It's
Chapter
not that I didn't eat
1949.
just now. Could it
I
be
ate
that
some
Zhao
light
Yin'er
food.
was not going
Zhao
to give
Yin'er
it to them?
explained.
How could
Thinking
that
about
be?
it,
Why
was
did
better
she give
not
it to
to
the
argue
second
with an old
branch,
lady,
but not the
After
first
all,
branch?
she was
They
Mu
were all
Lianfeng's
relatives,
grandmother,
so they should
Old
be treated
Madame Mu's
fairly,
temper
right?
was a little bad.
Zhao Yin'er did
She
not
did not
speak up,
need to argue
but when
over
she
such
did,
a small matter.
she felt embarrassed.
However,
Feng
Old
Zhangxia
Madame Mu
felt a
snorted
little
softly
uncomfortable
and said,
sitting there.
"This is the
In her
first
heart
time
was
I heard
burning
that a
with
villager
anxiety.
can't swallow
In
big
the end,
fish and meat.
she could not take
Is
it
Miss Zhao
anymore
not a
and said to
villager?
Zhao Yin'er,
Or is she different
Yun,
from other villagers?
What are the pastries
Being
you brought
questioned
back?
by Old Madame
How does
Mu.
it taste?
Zhao Yin'er
We
did
have
not
never
know
eaten
how
them
to
before.
answer.
Could it
When
be
she
that
said
she had
this,
to say
she
that
meant
she
that
was
she
different
wanted
from
Zhao
other
Yin,
villagers, or to give
In
her some
fact,
to try?
no matter how
Liang
she
Jinxiao
answered,
had no choice
Old
but
Madame
to
Mu
say,
would not be satisfied.
Yin'er, can you give a
because
box to
Old
your
Madame
eldest
Mu
aunt
was
and
the
fourth aunt
troublemaker.
too? She was
Zhao
not
Yin'er
satisfied
agreed,
with her as a
but
person,
she was not too
and did
willing
not
to give
care
the
about her
pastries to
explanation.
Feng Zhangxia.
Mu
Zhao
Lianfeng
Yin,
frowned,
or
and
casually
looked at
picked
Zhao
two
Yin'er
boxes
with
of the
heartache.
same kind.
He hurriedly
and gave
said
one
to Old
box
Madame
to
Mu,
each branch.
Grandma,
Fortunately,
Yin'er does like to
she
eat
brought
light
back
food
a lot
in the
of
morning.
pastries this
She has
time
always
and
been
reserved
used to
some
it.
for Mulan.
Moreover,
So it was
although
enough for the
Yin'er
whole
is in the
family.
countryside,
After
she
receiving
usually
the
eats a lot of
pastries,
fish and
Feng
meat.
Zhangxia smiled
Old Madame Mu
contentedly
did not
and
believe
thanked
it.
Zhao Yin'er.
How can a
However,
villager eat a lot
she
of
could
fish
only
and
bear
meat?
to eat one piece
Feng,
of the entire box
did
of
you take the
pastries.
money for her family
She
to
would bring the
spend?
rest back for
Grandma,
Zhao Wenshi.
don't make
Her
wild guesses
daughter-in-law
about
and her
Yin'er.
grandson.
Everything
As
was
for
earned by
Qianzuriu
Yin'er herself.
She only ate
Feng,
one piece
or did not help
and
at
handed
all.
one to Li
Yin'er
Chuanying.
is a very
The
hard-working
second branch's
woman.
box of
She led a
pastries
poor
was all
family to
taken
live
by
a
Zhao
Zhao Tianyu,
Tianyu,
which
so
is
Li
something that
Chuanying could not
ordinary
eat a
women
single
can't do.
piece.
Mu
After
Lianfeng's
tasting the
tone was full of
pastries,
praise
Feng
for Zhao
Zhangxia
Yin'er.
sighed.
But
No
old
wonder
Mistress
everyone
Mu
wants to
snorted
live a
softly.
rich life.
She did
The
not
food
put
and
Zhao
drinks
Yin'er
here
in
are
her
indeed
eyes.
different from ordinary
Great-grandmother,
food.
mother
And the
is
taste
really
is
amazing.
good.
Just
How
like
good
what
would it
father
be if
said,
we could eat them
if
every day?
great-grandmother could stay with mother
Qianzuriu
for a
joked.
while, she would
Sister-in-law,
definitely fall
wait
in
until
love with
Tianlong
mother.
becomes a high
Dada tugged
scholar.
at old Madame
When he
Mu's
becomes
sleeve,
an official,
looking at the
your wish
sensible
will
and
be
adorable
fulfilled,
Dadu,
and you will be
old
able to
Madame
eat
Mu
them
liked
every
him the
day.
most.
Feng
She couldn't
Zhangxia
figure out
smiled
how a
from ear
country
to ear.
bumpkin like Zhao
If
Yin'er
that's
could
really
give
the
birth
case,
to such an
then I will
outstanding
definitely
and
bring
adorable
more back
child.
for all of you to
It was a
eat.
pity that Dadu
The
was
few
only
sisters-in-law
Mu
were
Lianfeng's
chatting
son.
happily,
If he was really
and the
Mu
topic
Lianfeng's
slowly shifted
biological
to
son,
Zhao Xinhui.
how great would it
Feng
be?
Zhangxia
Old
said
Madame Mu
mysteriously
sighed,
to her other
then looked at Mu
sisters-in-law.
Lianfeng and
There's
said
something
to
I
Mu
don't know if
Lianfeng,
you've heard.
Feng,
Qian Zhouxia asked
family has few
curiously.
children.
What is it?
You have to work hard
Feng Zhangxia
and strive
said.
to let grandma hold a
Yesterday,
grandson
I was
as
chatting
soon
with
as
Sister
possible.
Lu in the village.
Give birth to a
I
cute
heard
child
something
like
about our
Dowdu.
little sister.
Grandma probably won't
What's
live
wrong
for
with our
long.
little sister?
Several
I hope that
sisters-in-law
when I'm
started
still
gossiping.
alive, I can see
I don't
the
know if
scene
it's
of 4
true or not.
generations living
Big
under
Sister
the
Lu
same
also
roof.
received this
Mu
news
Yanfeng
from
was
Sun
silent
City.
for a while.
She heard that
Then
after
said,
her little sister
Grandma,
married
this
into
time,
the Huang Manor,
in addition to
she was
accompanying me to
dishonest
celebrate
and had
the
an
Dragon
affair
Boat
with the
Festival.
Huang Manor servants.
I also have good news
She was
to
caught
tell
by
you.
young Master
You will
Huang.
be very happy
Young
after
Master
hearing
Huang
it.
directly taught
Old
his
Madame
little
Mu asked
sister a
curiously,
lesson and
"Oh,
threw her out
what
of the
good
Huang
news does
residence.
Feng or want
It
to
could
tell
be
me?
said that he had
Grandma,
divorced his little
Dowdu
sister.
is my biological
Didn't his little
son,
sister go
your
to Yang City
biological
that day?
great-grandson.
Chapter
You're back
1935.
and aren't you injured?
Mu
The
Lianfeng
sisters-in-law
repeated
thought
himself.
about it.
Grandma,
And it seemed
I
that
said
it was
that
true
Dowdu
that
is my
day.
son,
Your
it can't be right.
great-grandson.
Liang
Dowdu is the
Jingxiao
blood
asked
of our
with a
Mu
frown.
family. Doesn't
Old
young
Madame
Master
Mu's
Huang
eyes were
treat my
full of
little
shock.
sister well?
She asked
Would
in
his little
disbelief.
sister be so
Phone.
foolish as
Are
to
you
have
sure
an
you're
affair
not
with a
mistaken?
servant?
Is
Would she
Dowda
do
really my
something so
great-grandson?
indecent?
Feng
Mu
Zhengxia
Lianfeng answered
with
in
a
a
sharp
smile.
voice.
Grandma
That's not
Feng
necessarily
naturally
true.
wouldn't be mistaken.
Third sister-in-law.
After all,
You don't
it's
understand
related
my
to our
little
Mu
sister.
family's bloodline.
My little sister
Old
is
Madame Mu
usually
then looked
spoiled
at
by our
Zhao Yun'er
mother
in confusion
and is immature.
But isn't Dowda
It's not
Miss Zhao's
impossible
son?
for her to
How
do
did he
something
become
like
the blood
that.
of our Mu family?
Perhaps young Master
The
Huang
relationship
is rich, but
between
not
the
good
two
in
was
that
a little
aspect.
complicated.
She couldn't bear
Old
the
Madame
loneliness
Mu couldn't
and
figure
had
it
an
out.
affair with a servant.
She was afraid that Mu Lianfeng would make a mistake when he tried to figure it out. Mu Lianfeng explained
Chapter
patiently.
1950.
Grandma,
Liang
Dowda is
Jinxiao
Yun'er's
recalled the
son.
rumors about
He's
Zhao
also
Yun'er in the
Feng'er's son.
village.
He
Mu
knew that
Lianfeng
many
were
people
counted
liked
the
the
things
things
that
that
happened
happened
at the
So
beginning.
he said,
He
that's not
accidentally got into
necessarily
Zhao
true.
Yun'er's belly.
You can't speak
As a
without
result,
evidence.
Zhao Yun'er got
Feng
pregnant
Zhengxia
out of
suddenly
wedlock.
said,
Everyone
how can there
looked
be
down
no
on
evidence?
her, and it was
What those
very
people
difficult
said
for
is
her
not
to take care of
impossible.
Dowda at
Think
first.
about it.
After
How long has
listening to
Xiaomei
Mu
stayed at
Lianfeng,
home?
Old
If
Madame
nothing
Mu was
happened,
naturally very
why didn't
excited.
young Master Huang
It turned
take her
out
back?
that Zhao Yun'er got
Why did he
pregnant
leave her
out of
alone in the
wedlock
countryside
and did
to
something
suffer?
out of line?
I noticed that
She thought
mother's
that it
mood
was
was
Zhao
not very
Yun'er's
good these
personal
days.
behavior
It
that
seems
caused
that
her to
something
have
really
a problem
happened
with Zhao Yun'er.
After listening
This
to
time,
Feng Zhengxia's
Zhao
words,
Yun'er made a great
the
contribution
sisters-in-law
to the
fell
Mu
into
family
silence
by giving birth
After
to
a while,
Dowda.
Qian Zhozhi
Thinking
said,
that the Mu family
if that's
finally
really
had
the
a
case,
child to
what
carry
should
on
we
the
do?
ancestral line.
Xiaomei can't always
Old
stay
Madame
at
Mu
old Zhao's
couldn't
house,
calm down.
right?
She was
Isn't that
wondering
so?
why she felt an
Xiaomei will
inexplicable
definitely be
sense of
laughed at
closeness to
home.
Dowda, and we
It
will
turned
be
out
laughed
that
at
he was
too.
a child of the Mu
Xiaomei
family.
married so grandly
Matriarch
before.
Mu had no
I'm
doubts
afraid
about
that she
Dowda's
will only
identity.
become the joke
The
of
more she
Shui
looked
Lan
at
village
Dowda,
in the future,
the more she
then
felt
it's
that
better
Dowda
for
looked
Xiaomei to
very
marry
similar
off.
to Mu Lianfeng
Yes,
when he was
it's
young.
a good thing for
They were
us if
completely
Xiaomei marries
cast from the
off.
same mold.
At home,
With such
Mother
similar
always has
facial
some conflicts
features,
with us
no
because
one
of
would
Xiaomei.
suspect that
With
Dowda was
Xiaomei's
Mu Lianfeng's
qualifications,
biological son.
after being divorced
She
by
used to
young
hope
Master
day and
Huang,
night
that Mu
it will be
Lianfeng would have
difficult
an
for her
heir.
to remarry,
She
right?
didn't expect
Those
that
with
God
good
had already heard her
qualifications
call
won't like Xiaomei,
and left a descendant
and those
for the
with
Mu
bad
family.
qualifications
Old
are
Madame Mu
afraid that
smiled
Xiaomei
and
and
touched
mother won't
Dowda's
like
little
them.
face with her old hands.
Speaking of this,
she
Feng
cherished
Zhengxia's
Dowda's
interest
even more.
was piqued.
Thinking of
She
how
quickly
Dowda
said,
had suffered
"Don't
with
you
Zhao
know?
Yun'er in the
Qin
past few
Yuan
years,
seems to like Xiaomei
and how the
very
Mu
much.
family's bloodline
And
had
Xiaomei is
wandered
also a little
outside without
interested
any
in him.
dignity. Recently,
Old Madame Mu
Qin
felt
Yuan
even
has
more
been
upset.
visiting Xiaomei from time
Fortunately,
to time.
he could
Who
recognize
knows
his
when the two of
ancestors
them
now.
will get together.
In the future,
Feng
she would
Zhengxia
let this
blurted out without
great-grandson
thinking.
enjoy himself.
She did not
and
notice
make up
that she
for all
was
the
in front
pain
of
he had
Liang
suffered
Jinxiao.
before.
And
God
Qin
has
Yuan
opened
was
his
Liang
eyes.
Jinxiao's son-in-law, and
This
Zhao
is
Pinger's
really good
husband.
news for Grandma.
Qian Zhozhi quickly
Madame
poked
Mu
Feng
wiped the
Zhengxia's
tears
arm
from the
and
corner
winked at
of her
her.
eyes with a
Only then
handkerchief.
did Feng Zhengxia
Mu
react.
Lianfeng comforted her.
That,
Grandma,
third
don't cry.
sister-in-law.
It's a
I
happy
just
thing
said it
for us to have
casually.
4
Don't
generations
take it to
under
heart.
the same roof.
A look of worry
Our Mu
appeared on
family
Liang
will have other
Jinxiao's
heirs
face.
in the future.
Sister-in-law, is what you said true?
Everything will get
Qin
better
Yuan
and better.
even went to visit
Old
little
Madame Mu
sister
nodded in
recently.
agreement.
This, seeing that
Feng
old Madame Mu
Zhengxia
was
hesitated
happy.
for a moment,
Mu Lianfeng
not
hurriedly
knowing
said
how
to
to
old
answer.
Madame Mu,
Grandma,
Sister-in-law, just tell
it's
me
all
the
thanks
truth.
to Yun'er that we
There's
can
no
have
need
heirs
to hide
now.
it. I just
Old
want to
Madame
know.
Mu glanced at Zhao
Feng
Yun'er.
Zhengxia then
Although she
responded,
didn't want to admit
third
it,
sister-in-law,
she knew that
your
Zhao Yun'er had
son-in-law
done a
is
good
really
job
not
for
an
the Mu
honest
family.
person.
You
It's
say,
her blessing to
the
be
two
able
of them
to
are
give
one
birth to our
generation
Mu
apart.
family. What is
Old
the
Madame
meaning
Mu
of getting
said,
together? I'm just afraid that little sister will go back.
Chapter
And look for that kid
1936.
Qin Yuan to take
Mu
over.
Lianfeng took the
Pinger will have
opportunity to say
suffer.
this directly.
Liang Jinxiao
But old Madame
sighed,
Mu frowned,
looking a little
and was
anxious.
silent for a
Feng
moment.
Zhengxia
Zhao
regretted
Yun'er
her
giving
words
birth
and
to a
hurriedly
son for the
persuaded
Mu
her.
family was one
Third
thing,
sister-in-law,
but it was
I'm
another
just
to
saying
let
it
Mu
casually.
Lianfeng marry Zhao
It's
Yun'er.
not necessarily
no matter
true.
what.
The Mu
Qian
family
Zhozhi
was also
also
hurriedly
family,
comforted her, and Mu
Third
Lianfeng was the
sister-in-law.
current Shitzi.
Don't think too much.
If he wanted to marry a wife, he couldn't just do it casually. There shouldn't be
If he
anything
wanted to
between
marry,
the two of them.
he naturally
Qin
had to
Yuan
marry
wouldn't
a
do
daughter
such a
of a
foolish
well-matched
thing.
family.
If they really
A
get
country
together,
woman like Zhao
Mother
Yun
will definitely
was
not
completely
agree.
unworthy
After
of
all,
Mu
it's
It's incest. So old
people
Madame
find
Mu
out,
said. Won't they laugh at our
you
old
should
Zhao
know that
family?
marrying a wife requires a well-matched family.
It's impossible for
Miss
them to
Zhao's
be
status
together.
is too low.
Feng
She
Zhangxia
can't even be
agreed.
your concubine,
Unexpectedly,
let alone marry
Liang
her.
Jinxiao said.
Mu Lianfeng
It's none
suddenly
of my
became
business
anxious
whether
and
they get
hurriedly
together
said,
or not.
But Grandma,
No matter how much
Yinner
pain or
gave birth
suffers,
to a
I
child
won't
for
care.
me.
You have
No
to be
matter what,
responsible for
I
the
have to
man
give
you
Yinner a
chose.
status, right?
Who can you blame
Otherwise,
if you can't watch over
Yinner
him?
will only continue to suffer from rumors and slanders.
How can I watch Yinner suffer like this?
Chapter 1951.
Old Madame Mu was silent for a moment.
Even if
She knew
Zhao
that Mu
Xinhui and
Lianfeng's
Qin
words
Yuan
were
did
not without
something,
reason.
she wouldn't ask
Since
about
Zhao
it.
Yinner gave birth
After
to
all,
the Mu family
it was
son,
Zhao Pinger's
the
own
mother's
choice,
status
so
depended
she
on
should
the
bear
son.
the consequences
No matter
herself.
what, she had to give
Feng
a status.
Zhangxia and Qian
But to
Hongzai
let Mu
both smiled
Lianfeng
and didn't
marry
know
Zhao
how to
Yinner.
respond.
She really didn't
They
like
didn't
Zhao
know if
Yinner.
Liang Jinxiao
How could a
said
country
this to
woman
comfort
be the
himself,
master of the
or
Shitsi
if Liang
mansion
Jinxiao
if
really
this
thought
spread
this
out?
way.
There would be people who would laugh at the Sheetsy mansion for marrying such a daughter-in-law. It's getting late. She was a person who cared about her face and couldn't put it down. Lunch when we get back. That he couldn't persuade old Madame Mu stood up and said goodbye. Yinfeng could only say to old Madame Mu, "Then you can go back, Grandma. Be careful on the road." Actually, Yin'er and I have already been married by the emperor, Zhao Yin'er's courtyard one after another. The title of imperial madam was in a good mood because she received pastries from Zhao Yin edict issued by the emperor, so she was very happy along the way. Old Madame Mu when the sisters-in-law arrived at old Madame Mu didn't expect Zhao Yin Zhao Ping to be so capable had come over again. Even the emperor personally bestowed a marriage for them, brought things over not knowing whether it was true or not. They were all good things to nourish Zhao Xinhui's body. A few more glances at the imperial edict and did not see any problems. Man is here again. Now he's becoming more and more open. Why would His Majesty bestow a marriage upon you? It won't be good. In fact, do you want to remind Madame Mu couldn't understand why the emperor would agree to Mu Lianfeng's marrying Zhao Yin'er, come here, a country bumpkin. If he comes here too many times, then recounted all of Zhao Yin'er's contributions discovered by the villagers, because she had helped the court with a major matter. It will be a bit embarrassing. The emperor had bestowed the title of imperial madam to Zhao Yin'er as frowned and said, at the same time, Mother will listen. He had bestowed her with a marriage to good things every time he comes over. Now that there was an imperial Mother edict, is a greedy and person, even the emperor was involved. She definitely won't chase him away. Even if old Madame Mu wanted to object, agreed. She didn't dare to openly disobey the imperial edict. Mother is indeed that kind of person. Since His Majesty has given the imperial edict away, then Feng Qianhongzhao was still worried and said, whether or not she will is one thing, and whether or not we remind her is another. Smile. I'm afraid that if something goes wrong in his heart, our whole old Zhao family will be laughed at together. Madame Mu's approval. Eldest sister. However, in the next second, Sky Dragon will be taking the imperial examination. Old Madame Mu said, if he really becomes an official, His Majesty only said his family can't have any black marks. He didn't say whether you would marry her together with his little concubine. It would be in my opinion. It's better to let Yin'er be a concubine. Even if she is originally a country high-ranking official, it's her great fortune to be able to be a concubine of Sheetsy. Feng Zhangxia originally didn't for her to be a wife, but now that she heard Qian's suddenly darkened nonsense, it turned out that she still couldn't enter old Madame Mu's eyes. After all, be a concubine. What Qian Zhozhi said was not without reason. If Zhao Tianlong really passed the high scholar examination, and became an official from the 21st century, incident in his family would affect this kind of grievance. Even if she didn't want to get involved, face darkened she had no choice but to do so. Madame Mu, Feng Zhangxia said, I will only marry you. You're right. If that's the case, it's necessary to remind her mother about this matter and not a wife. Don't let our old Zhao family become a joke of Mu Lianfeng's hand and said, Feng, I think you're confused, sister-in-law. Your cousin has admired you for a long time and wants to marry into our Mu family. The reason why she has a noble status didn't go by herself and is my biological granddaughter. After all, the position of the wife didn't know Hu Chunhua's attitude. Speaking of Mu Lianfeng's cousin, she came to see Madame Mu not long ago and revealed that she was only willing to marry Mu even if Hu Chunhua was angry. Madame Mu was originally very fond of this biological niece. After living for so long, such a request although she was usually enthusiastic about helping others, promised Morong she wasn't stupid enough to rush to the front of everything. Marry her. The most important thing as a princess consort was to not let oneself suffer too much. It was a good thing to be more careful and not let Mu Lianfeng marry Zhao Yin'er as the wife. However, Mu Lianfeng's face was cold as he flatly refused. Chapter 1952. I'm heartless towards cousin. Nodded. I will never marry her in this lifetime. We don't have anything to do with it. Scolded a little angrily. But it's your family's Tianlong. Feng the parents' orders are the words of the matchmaker. Since your father has passed away, your marriage will naturally wouldn't be able to push the blame onto someone else. If I let you marry Feng Zhangxia still looked unwilling her. But when she thought about the consequences of Zhao Tianlong grandmother official, why do you like to force your grandson to do things that he doesn't like to do? I'll go tell mother's side. If I marry cousin, I will only harm her. Worried that Hu Chunhua would scold her. I only have a brotherly relationship for retreat and have no romantic feelings. Slowly walked over to Hu Chunhua. Mother, I have something to tell you. Feng Chunhua raised her eyebrows and replied, so you must treat her well and marry her. Just say it. You're rejecting everything now. Smiled sheepishly. Isn't it just for a little peasant woman it's about like Zhao Yin'er and Qin Yuan's child? How can this peasant woman compare to Shuang status? What's up with the two of them? Shuang are one matched. That kid for Miss Yuan always comes to old Zhao's house to visit little sister. Could it be that you want Shuang? It's not very good, right? Or to be your concubine. What's not good about it? Every time he clenched his fist, he brings something and with suppressed him. The anger in his heart. This time he brought Longans really back could not from understand why old Madame Mu was so stubborn. When stewed with brown sugar. If he really wanted Zhao Yin'er to be his concubine, as she waved the Longans why did in her he spend hand, so much effort to get the emperor to grant the marriage? No. Mother, Dowdu as her own things son is one thing, even without the emperor's permission for him to come. It would be easy for Zhao Yin in the village to become a concubine, saying that our little sister grandmother Yun'er's
was
man
betrothed
by His
an affair.
Majesty. Many
And His
people are
Majesty
secretly
conferred her
laughing
the
at
title
us.
of Imperial
Also,
Madam.
about little
If His
sister,
Majesty knows that
the
Yun'er
villagers
is
say
only
that
going to
little
be my
sister was
concubine,
chased away by
he will
young Master
definitely
Huang
investigate
and
this
can't
matter.
return to the Huang
Perhaps
estate
our
anymore.
Shitsi manor
Feng
will
Zhangxia
also be
said weakly as
investigated.
she anxiously
Then
observed
let's
Hu
put the wedding
Chunhua's
aside.
expression.
Grandmother
Afraid
will
that
ask His
Hu Chunhua would
Majesty
scold
for
her.
instructions
As
later.
expected,
Wait until the
Chunhua's
Emperor's
expression
expression
darkened
darkened
when she heard Feng
wife.
Zhangxia's words. She didn't expect that news of young Master Huang chasing away Zhao Xinhui would spread to the village. It was true that paper couldn't wrap fire. Some things would be exposed one day. And this matter was very embarrassing. Originally, it was fine if the villagers didn't know about it. But obviously, everyone knew about it. Hu Chunhua only felt a burning pain on her face. Hu Chunhua's lips trembled. What? Are these rumors spreading from the village? Hu Chunhua answered with a guilty conscience. What she said was the truth. And the first part was made up by herself. She wanted Hu Chunhua to pay attention to it, and not let Qin Yuan come to old Zhao's house again. Hu Chunhua was silent for a moment. How dare those lowly bastards say such things? How infuriating. Mother, gossip is a fearful thing. We don't know if little sister's story is true or not. They're just hearsay. When the time comes, we can just deny it. But there's evidence that Pinger's man is having an affair with little sister. Qin Yuan comes to old Zhao's house all the time. The villagers aren't blind or stupid. Naturally, they can see the clues. Feng Zhangxia rolled her eyes as she continued speaking. Hu Chunhua pursed her lips. What's wrong with that? Pinger's man is your little sister's junior. Since little sister is injured, he came to visit her and bought some things to show his filial piety. What's there to say about that? Hu Chunhua didn't seem to have any intention of chasing away Qin Yuan's man. She was probably thinking about the little things that Qin Yuan had given her. Feng Zhangxia immediately panicked. She silently cursed Hu Chunhua for being so greedy. She didn't realize the severity of the consequences. Wasn't she afraid of delaying her eldest grandson? Chapter 1953. Hu Chunhua's face twitched. She knew that Feng Zhangxia's words made sense. The villagers were not stupid. How could they not see the clues? Even if Qin Yuan really came here to be filial, those gossipy old women loved to stir up trouble. They would gossip about things and hope that others would make a fool of themselves. Now that the news of incest had spread, how could old Zhao's family face the villagers in the future? Seeing Hu Chunhua frowning and thinking, Feng Zhangxia said, Mother, I think we should ask Qin Yuan not to come here again. If he doesn't come, the rumors will slowly die down. Otherwise, it will damage our little sister's reputation. Old Zhao's family will also be too ashamed to walk around the village. Hu Chunhua thought about it, and felt that Qin Yuan shouldn't come here again. Okay, I'll go talk to him. Okay. Feng Zhangxia finally convinced Hu Chunhua. She heaved a sigh of relief. Hu Chunhua ran into the room to talk to Qin Yuan. Zhao Ping sat alone in the courtyard while Qin Yuan went to Zhao Xinhui's room. Although she wanted to go with him, Qin Yuan wouldn't let her. Zhao Ping was afraid that Qin Yuan would be angry, so she could only stay in old Zhao's courtyard obediently. Qin Yuan had been here for a while. Every time Zhao Xinhui was here, he would ask about Zhao Xinhui's well-being. At that time, Zhao Xinhui's body and mind were very weak. As a result, Qin Yuan quickly walked into Zhao Xinhui's heart. Qin Yuan was good-looking and very considerate to Zhao Xinhui. Most importantly, he was obedient. Zhao Xinhui compared Qin Yuan with young Master Huang. She felt that Qin Yuan was no worse than young Master Huang, except for the fact that he didn't have money. Money could be slowly made up for. Now, even if the family was poor, they were not as poor as before. Because he sold the pig offal, he slowly began to accumulate some money. While chatting with Qin Yuan, Zhao Xinhui came up with an idea, which was to let Qin Yuan open a restaurant. He could earn so much money by selling pig offal every day. If he opened a restaurant and sold other dishes every day, he could earn even more money. The pig offal could be used as the restaurant's signature dish to attract business. As long as they hired a good chef, they wouldn't have to worry about not having business for a long time. Sun City was considered a rich place in the Great Zhou country. If one properly managed the restaurant, they would earn quite a bit of money. However, opening a restaurant was not a small expense. From renting the storefront to renovating and hiring workers, it would cost at least 1 to 200 taels of silver to set up a restaurant. The current Qin Yuan couldn't fork out so much money, but Zhao Xinhui could. The gold, silver, and jewelry that young Master Huang gave her added up to over 1,000 taels of silver. It was enough for her to live for the rest of her life. If she wanted to be richer in the future, she couldn't just sit around and eat until she ran out of money. She had to do business to earn money. When Qin Yuan saw that Zhao Xinhui was willing to fork out money to open a restaurant for him, he was very excited. If he really opened a restaurant, he would earn more money than he did now. If he could earn a lot of money every day, wouldn't he become rich very quickly? Huier, you're so good. You're always thinking for me. Now you're even willing to fork out money for me to open a restaurant. Qin Yuan held Zhao Xinhui's hand and said excitedly. Zhao Xinhui smiled sweetly. I'm willing to fork out money for you to open a restaurant, because I want you to earn more money in the future. Only then can you bring me to a better life. Chapter 1954. Zhao Xinhui blushed. You can say that now. But you won't forget about me when you become rich, right? Qin Yuan quickly raised his hand and swore. Huier, what are you talking about? Don't you know how sincere I am towards you? You're the only person I'll love in this lifetime. No matter if I'm rich or poor, you're the only one I'll love. If I forget about you when I become rich, then I'll be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Zhao Xinhui quickly covered Qin Yuan's mouth. All right, I believe you. Don't curse yourself anymore. Hee. Qin Yuan laughed happily. Qin Yuan's heart was filled with anticipation when he thought about the wonderful life they would have in the future. The two of them hugged each other intimately. At the same time, they began to fantasize. Huier, if we really earn enough money, we can buy a house in Yang City and hire a few servants to take care of your daily needs. We won't be staying in a barren place like the countryside. You can have anything you want to eat or play with. Yang City is very convenient. Zhao Xinhui's heart skipped a beat when she heard this. If they really bought a house in Yang City and hired servants, even though it wouldn't be as good as the Huang residences, they would still be able to live the life of a master. Most importantly, she would be the mistress of the house. She could do whatever she wanted and wouldn't have to care about other people's opinions. Zhao Xinhui planned to marry Qin Yuan when the business of Qin Yuan's restaurant improved. However, she remembered that Qin Yuan still had Zhao Ping'er by his side. If she married Qin Yuan, would she be his wife or concubine? It was fine if she became young Master Huang's concubine, but if she became Qin Yuan's concubine, her status would be lower than Zhao Ping'er's. Zhao Xinhui wasn't happy about it. Thus, Zhao Xinhui asked Qin Yuan, Qin Yuan, if I marry you in the future, what are you going to do with Zhao Ping'er? Let me tell you, I won't be a concubine, and I won't share a man with Ping'er last to avoid being laughed at. Qin Yuan hurriedly said, Huier, don't worry about this matter. When you marry me, I will divorce Ping'er. Zhao Xinhui frowned. Thinking about it, it seemed to be too cruel to Zhao Xinhui. He said, it's not good to divorce Ping'er, right? That Ping'er girl is too pitiful. Qin Yuan praised Zhao Xinhui. Huier, you're too kind. Why do you still care about Zhao Ping'er? She's so ugly, and she's so ugly. It's normal for her to be divorced. Which man can stand her? Zhao Xinhui pondered for a moment. Although Ping'er is stupid, she listens to you. She's pregnant with your family Qin's child. If you divorce her, you'll be criticized. Your parents will definitely not agree. Qin Yuan couldn't help but ask, Huier, there's no point in worrying so much. Don't tell me we're not going to divorce Zhao Ping. Wouldn't that be unfair to you? Zhao Xinhui's eyes darted around. He calculated and said, Qin Yuan, don't you have an idiot older brother? Why don't we let Zhao Ping, or be his wife? This doesn't count as driving her out. We'll be able to live a good life and bring her along. We're already doing our best. Upon hearing Zhao Xinhui's words, Qin Yuan readily agreed. Huier, that's a good idea. It's good to keep Zhao Xinhui as my older brother's wife. The child in her belly might even be my older brother's. Chapter 1955. Alright, it's decided then. Zhao Xinhui was also very satisfied with this outcome. The two of them snuggled up to each other, and their love for each other grew stronger. After Hu Chunhua entered the house, she saw Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan being lovey-dovey. Hu Chunhua's face immediately fell. She didn't expect the two of them to progress so quickly and even get together. If this continued, they would really end up together. Without even thinking, Hu Chunhua was certain that it was Qin Yuan who had seduced his Hui. Thus she let out a torrent of abuse. Shameless thing. You even dare to touch my Hui. Hurry and get out of my way. Qin Yuan was so frightened that he hurriedly retreated to the side. His mouth trembled as he explained, Grandma, my aunt and I are in love. Hu Chunhua spat at Qin Yuan. Bah! Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? Do you think you're good enough for Hui? Grandma? Qin Yuan called out weakly. In front of Hu Chunhua, he couldn't muster up much courage because he knew that Hu Chunhua looked down on him. Who asked them to be poor? They were used to being looked down upon by others. Hu Chunhua said with a cold face. Let me tell you, there are already rumors in the village. It's bad for Hui's reputation. I think you shouldn't come to my house next time. Qin Yuan immediately became anxious. Grandma, if I don't come, how can I see my aunt? Alright. In any case, don't be a toad lusting after a swan's meat, and have designs on our family's Hui. If I tell you not to come, then don't come. What's the point of saying so much nonsense? Hu Chunhua scolded in displeasure. Qin Yuan's pleading gaze fell on Zhao Xinhui. Zhao Xinhui quickly tugged at Hu Chunhua. Mother, what are you doing? Qin Yuan came over because he cares about me. How can you let him go? Hu Chunhua sighed and spoke to Zhao Xinhui in a much gentler tone. Hui, I'm doing this for your own good. The people in the village are too mean. Don't let him come over again. What they say is their own business. Let's do our own thing. Why do we have to care about what others say? Seeing this, Hu Chunhua asked anxiously, Hui, don't tell me you've taken a liking to this guy? You'll lead a hard life if you're with him. Moreover, he's Pinger's man. If you're with him, wouldn't it be incest? That's what the villagers are laughing at. Zhao Xinhui shouted. Mother, when the time comes, Qin Yuan can just divorce Pinger. Now that the family isn't as poor as before, they're even preparing to open a restaurant. When the restaurant's business is good, and it makes a lot of money, not only will you not lead a hard life, but you'll also be able to enjoy life with him. Hu Chunhua gaped in surprise. What? Qin Yuan is opening a restaurant? Yes, mother. Do you think opening a restaurant in Yang City will make money? Although Hu Chunhua didn't know much, she knew that opening a restaurant would definitely make money. He's so capable now. Hu Chunhua muttered in surprise. Mother, won't you find out in the future whether it's true or not? That's true. But Hui, do you mean that you're really willing to be with this guy? Zhao Xinhui frowned. Mother, look at me. I've already been divorced by my husband's family. How can I find a good in-law? Chapter 1956. Hu Chunhua did not reply, but she took Zhao Xinhui's words to heart. If that was the case, then Qin Yuan was indeed a good choice. She was afraid that Qin Yuan did not have the ability to fool Zhao Xinhui. Her daughter was also very naive and would believe whatever others said. If that brat really becomes successful in the future, you won't object to being together with him. But before that, it's best to avoid him. So it's best if you don't come to Qin Yuan, so that people won't gossip, Hu Chunhua said firmly. Mother. Zhao Xinhui tried to persuade Hu Chunhua, but before she could finish, she was rejected by Hu Chunhua. There's no room for discussion. Hui, you have to think about me, your father, and our old Zhao family. So many people are waiting to laugh at us. You're already so old, so you should be more sensible. I'm not completely against it. When Qin Yuan becomes successful, I'll come and look for you in a grand manner. Isn't that good? Seeing that there was no room for negotiation, Zhao Xinhui could only say, All right then. Mother, Can you let me talk to Qin Yuan alone for a while? Let him go after I'm done, okay? Hua Chunhua reluctantly nodded in agreement. Okay, let him hurry up. Okay. After Hua Chunhua left, Qin Yuan approached Zhao Xinhui with an anxious expression. Huier, what should I do now? I feel uneasy if I don't see you for a day. Didn't you hear what my mother said? If you want to see me sooner and be with me sooner, then hurry up and open the restaurant. Once you've earned enough money, won't we be able to see each other every day? Zhao Xinhui said coquettishly. Qin Yuan was immediately filled with enthusiasm when he heard this. Okay, Huier. Then I'll open the restaurant as soon as possible. I'll definitely bring you to a good life. I'll marry you as soon as possible. Zhao Xinhui smiled, took out a money bag, and handed it to the Qin Yuan. This is the capital. Take it. Don't let me down. Qin Yuan took the bag of silver ingots and estimated that there were more than 100 taels of silver. It was enough to open a restaurant. Qin Yuan nodded solemnly. I'll work hard for you. Trust me. Zhao Xinhui threw herself into Qin Yuan's arms and said softly, although I won't be able to see you for a while, I know that it's for the sake of a better start for us. Qin Yuan, I hope you can succeed this time. Qin Yuan lowered his head and kissed Zhao Xinhui's forehead. He replied dotingly, Don't worry, Huier. I won't let you down. The two of them were reluctant to part. Just then, they heard Hua Chunhua impatiently standing in the courtyard and urging them to leave. Qin Yuan reluctantly let go of Zhao Xinhui and said to Zhao Xinhui, Huier, I'll leave first. Take good care of yourself. Yes, I will. Zhao Xinhui nodded heavily. The two of them were like a couple in love. When they parted, they were full of reluctance. Old Zhao's sisters-in-law finally breathed a sigh of relief when they heard that Qin Yuan had been driven away by Hua Chunhua. Feng Zhangxia sighed. Fortunately, Mother isn't too unreasonable. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to do. Yes. Fortunately, Qian Hongzhao said. Now we don't have to worry anymore. Sister-in-law, let's go make dinner. It's getting late. Chapter 1957. How could they have disappeared? Feng Zhangxia rummaged through the cupboard a few more times, but she still couldn't find them. Her face instantly darkened. Unless they had been stolen, it was impossible for them to disappear without a trace. Unfortunately, her sisters-in-law had all gone to Liang Jinqiao's place to chat during the day, and they weren't in old Zhao's courtyard. Feng Zhangxia hurriedly looked for Hua Chunhua and asked her about it. Mother, did you see any outsiders coming to our house today? What outsiders? Other than Pinger and Qin Yuan, I didn't see anyone else coming to our house. Feng Zhangxia thought for a moment. Zhao Pinger had been sitting in the courtyard the whole time, and she didn't see anything in her pocket when she came back. Besides, Zhao Pinger and Qin Yuan both looked very rich and had sent so many good things over. How could they have gone through so much trouble just to steal 2 eggs? Since it wasn't an outsider, and it wasn't Zhao Pinger or Qin Yuan, did it mean that it was a family member who had stolen the eggs? Feng Zhangxia suspected that it was either Hua Chunhua or Zhao Wenshui who had stolen the eggs. Hua Chunhua usually liked to take advantage of small things. Perhaps she had seen the 2 eggs in her house and casually took them and gave them to Zhao Xinhui to nourish her body. Zhao Wenshui was a glutton. Previously, he had even secretly drunk the chicken soup, so it was even more likely that he had stolen the 2 eggs in her house. Feng Zhangxia frowned and asked Hua Chunhua cautiously, Mother, did you see the 2 eggs in my cupboard? Hua Chunhua replied with a puzzled expression. How would I know if there were eggs in your cupboard? Why are you asking me this? Feng Zhangxia smiled embarrassedly. Mother, the 2 eggs in my cupboard suddenly disappeared, so I came over to ask if you saw them. Hua Chunhua's face darkened. She was not a fool. How could she not know what Feng Zhangxia meant? She then yelled at Feng Zhangxia. You black-hearted woman. How dare you suspect this old woman? Am I that kind of person? Feng Zhangxia quickly smiled apologetically. Mother, don't be angry. I didn't mean it that way. You don't mean that? Then what do you mean? Mother, I just asked casually. I didn't say it was you. Bah! Hua Chunhua spat a mouthful of saliva on the ground. If I wanted to take it, I wouldn't have stolen it. I would have just asked you for it. Yes, yes, yes. Feng Zhangxia quickly responded. Hua Chunhua rolled her eyes a few times and went into the kitchen. Meanwhile, Feng Zhangxia was really thinking about the whereabouts of her 2 eggs. Since it wasn't Hua Chunhua who took it, it must be Zhao Wenshui. At the thought of this, Feng Zhangxia felt a little angry and rushed into the second branch's room. The moment Feng Zhangxia walked into Zhao Wenshui's room, she shouted angrily at Zhao Wenshui. Second brother. Zhao Wenshui was lying on the bed. When he saw Feng Zhangxia come in, he immediately smiled apologetically and said, Sister-in-law, what are you doing in my room? Before Feng Zhangxia could question Zhao Wenshui rolled his eyes and muttered to himself, Sister-in-law, if you miss me, you don't have to come to my room in broad daylight. This is too blatant. You should tell me secretly that we're going out at night. Hearing Zhao Wenshui's filthy words, Feng Zhangxia's face instantly turned red. Chapter 1958. Fortunately, no one in the house heard her. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to explain herself. Zhao Wenshui was shameless, but she was. If someone with ulterior motives heard this and spread rumors, she would be too ashamed to continue staying in the village. Zhao Wenshui smiled wickedly and said, Sister-in-law, you're much prettier than my wife. I know Big Brother has been injured recently, so there's definitely nothing going on between the two of you. You must be feeling lonely and want someone to help you loosen the soil, right? Sister-in-law, you've found the right person. I'll definitely work harder than Big Brother. Feng Zhangxia's face turned even redder. She spat on Zhao Wenshui's face and said, Second brother, what nonsense are you talking about? You only have these dirty thoughts in your head. I'm telling you, don't talk nonsense with me. There's nothing going on between the two of us. Don't make it sound like there's something going on between us. Zhao Wenshui was stunned, and a touch of disappointment appeared between his eyebrows. Sister-in-law, if you didn't come looking for me because of this, then why did you come to my house? Feng Zhangxia was furious at Zhao Wenshui. Second brother, did you steal the 2 eggs in my cupboard? Sister-in-law, Zhao Wenshui felt guilty and didn't know how to respond. He had indeed stolen the 2 eggs in the cupboard in the first room. Because he had slept until dawn, and Li Chuiying wasn't home when he woke up, he couldn't find anything to eat in the kitchen. He didn't have to think about it to know that his wife must have done it on purpose. In the end, he could only look in the cupboard in the first room. When he saw the 2 eggs, he cooked them and ate them to fill his stomach. Unexpectedly, Feng Zhangxia came looking for him. Seeing Zhao Wenshui's reaction, Feng Zhangxia knew very well that Zhao Wenshui must have stolen the 2 eggs. She couldn't help but scold him again. Second brother, aren't you going too far? Why did you have to be a thief? I only had a few eggs left at home, and you stole them. What do you want my Yang to eat? Zhao Wenshui hurriedly said, Sister-in-law, don't be angry. It's just 2 eggs. I was hungry during the day, so I cooked it and ate it. I didn't steal it. Originally, I wanted to wait for you to come back and tell you. Now that you've come to ask me about it, I'll compensate you. I'll compensate you, alright? Feng Zhangxia's expression softened a little. If Zhao Wenshui was willing to compensate, she could forgive him. Second brother, 1 egg is 1 copper coin. But you took 2 of my eggs without my permission, so you have to compensate me with 1 copper coin. Give me 3 copper coins. Zhao Wenshui replied with a smile. Okay, sister-in-law. 3 yuan it is. When Feng Zhangxia saw that Zhao Wenshui was so easy to talk to, she was secretly happy that she had gotten a copper coin for free. However, he didn't show it on his face. Instead, he said to Zhao Wenshui, Second brother, at least you know your place. Hurry up and give me the 3 copper coins. Okay, Zhao Wenshui answered, then eagerly went to rummage through the boxes and cabinets. Zhao Wenshui took out 3 copper coins from the box and handed it to Feng Zhangxia. Feng Zhangxia took it, but Zhao Wenshui grabbed Feng Zhangxia's hand. Feng Zhangxia exclaimed, Second brother, what are you doing? Zhao Wenshui smiled wretchedly. Sister-in-law, Your hand is so beautiful. It feels so comfortable to touch. Chapter 1959. Zhao Wenshui dared to molest her. You let go of me. Feng Zhangxia exclaimed in a low voice. She didn't dare to be too loud for fear of alarming the people outside. Zhao Wenshui pushed his luck. Sister-in-law, I'm just touching you. It's no big deal, right? Don't go too far. I'm your sister-in-law. How can you molest me like this? Zhao Wenshui still didn't intend to let go. Sister-in-law, I just think you're prettier than my wife. I didn't dare to say it before, and I couldn't find a chance to say it. Now that you've come to me in person, I can't help it, sister-in-law. Look at big brother lying on the bed and can't move. How can a woman not have a man for so long? Let me help you. As Zhao Wenshui spoke, he pulled Feng Zhangxia into his arms. Feng Zhangxia struggled, but she couldn't break free from Zhao Wenshui's embrace. You, hurry up and let go of me. What are you doing? This is something only an animal would do. Zhao Wenshui leaned close to Feng Zhangxia and sniffed her body. He said to Feng Zhangxia, Sister-in-law, you smell so good. You're an animal. Feng Zhangxia's face flushed and she cursed in a low voice. Go away, go away. If you don't let go, I'm going to scream. You'll be beaten to death for behaving like an animal. Zhao Wenshui smiled fawningly and said, Sister-in-law, can you bear to see me get beaten up? Feng Zhangxia felt disgusted. Bah! Why can't I bear to see you get beaten up? Sister-in-law, I'm not worse than big brother. How can you be so cruel to me? Feng Zhangxia was very anxious. Zhao Wenshui refused to let go of her. She didn't know what to do now. Although Zhao Wenshui wasn't good at work, he was more than enough to deal with a woman like her. She couldn't break free, but she didn't dare to shout out loud. If someone saw this scene, it would be terrible. While she was worrying, Li Chuiying and Qian Hongzhao suddenly rushed in. Li Chuiying was going to give Qian Hongzhao some rags at home. But who knew that when she came in, she would see Zhao Wenshui and Feng Zhangxia hugging each other. What are you doing? Li Chuiying's eyes were filled with shock. Zhao Wenshui hurriedly let go of Feng Zhangxia. Feng Zhangxia hurriedly explained to Li Chuiying, Sister-in-law, it's not what you think. Li Chuiying opened his mouth. But sister-in-law you. Second sister-in-law, don't misunderstand. There's nothing between me and second brother. It's all second brother's fault. He insisted on carrying me over and doing what a beast would do. Feng Zhangxia said, wiping the tears from the corner of her eyes. Thinking about it, she felt wronged. Second brother, what's going on? How can you hug sister-in-law properly? Qian Hongzhao asked with a frown. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that it was strange. Zhao Wenshui was at a loss for words. He didn't know how to explain. They were already seen, so he couldn't say that he didn't hug her. Li Chuiying's resentful eyes fell on Zhao Wenshui. He snorted and said, I think he's just lustful. He can't do anything to other people, so he wants to do something to sister-in-law. Li Chuiying knew very well that with Zhao Wenshui's qualities, who would want him? He was lazy and lazy every day. Just looking at him was annoying. Chapter 1960. Zhao Wenshui's ears turned red. Although he was usually thick-skinned, he could not allow others to talk about him like that. He scolded Li Chuiying. You be *tch. What nonsense are you talking about? Li Chuiying's neck was red as she said, Isn't that right? Tianyu's father. It's fine that you did it in the past. I thought you would be a good person, but it seems like a leopard can't change its spots. You only want to do such dirty things. Feng Zhangxia also hurriedly complained tearfully. Second brother, I'm different from that widow Qian. I'm a decent woman. I won't do such things with you. If there's any bad news about me this time, I won't let you off. Zhao Wenshui's expression became even uglier. He clenched his fists. Li Chuiying did not give him any face at all. He was her man after all. How could she talk about him like that in front of others? You ugly *tch. If you dare to say anything more, I'll punish you. Qian Zondate hurriedly stood in front of Li Chuiying and said to Zhao Wenshui unhappily, Second brother, aren't you going too far? You're in the wrong this time. Why are you being so fierce to second sister-in-law? Li Chuiying complained tearfully. Hasn't he always been like this? He's heartless. I must have been blind to live with him. When I came back for Jing'er's sake, I thought he would repent. Now I know that it's harder to get someone like him to repent than to reach the heavens. Qian Zondate looked at Li Chuiying sympathetically. The most pitiful thing about a woman was that she married an unreliable man. Sometimes it was fine to be a little poor. The most important thing was that both of them worked hard. As long as the man cherished the woman would also be able to live a happy life. However, his second brother was simply inhumane. He only knew how to do such dirty things and hurt Li Chuiying time and time again. It was bad enough that he ordered Li Chuiying around every day, but he was actually disloyal. Second sister-in-law, it's better to ask our father to uphold justice for this matter. Second brother must give you an explanation. We also need to give sister-in-law an explanation. How could our old Zhao family do such a thing? Qian Jue said with a serious face. Okay. Li Chuiying gritted his teeth and replied. She really needed an explanation for this matter. Anyway, she didn't want to continue living with Zhao Wenshui. Feng Zhangxia also agreed. Yes, let father uphold justice for this matter. There is nothing between me and second brother, but he did such a thing to me. Zhao Wenshui was worried. If Zhao Binshan knew about it, he would break his legs. Thus he begged with a bitter face. Tianyu's mother, sister-in-law, I was wrong. I won't do it again. Please don't tell father about this matter, okay? Li Chuiying and Feng Zhangxia had no intention of relenting. Zhao Wenshui became even more worried. Wife, sister-in-law, please don't tell father. I really know I was wrong. Please forgive me this time. Li Chuiying said coldly. Tianyu's father, you have to have a conscience. Haven't I given you enough chances? How could you treat me like this? At this point, you still want me to give you another chance? Even if I let you go, shouldn't you be punished for treating sister-in-law like this? Chapter 1961. Feng Zhangxia wanted to prove her innocence. She couldn't let her two sisters-in-law misunderstand. And she couldn't let Zhao Wenshui treat her like this in the future. This matter had to be put on the table and made clear. If she punished Zhao Wenshui well, Zhao Wenshui probably wouldn't dare to do it again in the future. She couldn't be too merciful to this kind of person, who couldn't change his habits. Second sister-in-law and fourth sister-in-law are right. Second brother, people like you who are worse than animals should be taught a lesson. Let father uphold justice for me. Feng Zhangxia said with a cold face. Zhao Wenshui suddenly panicked. Sister-in-law, daughter-in-law. Whoa, I really don't dare. Please don't tell father. You can ask me to do anything in the future, as long as you don't tell father. Looking at Zhao Wenshui's appearance, the women had a lot of disgust for him. He had the desire to do it, but didn't have the courage. Didn't he think of the consequences of doing it? The three women ignored Zhao Wenshui and turned to leave the second branch's room. Zhao Baoshan just came back from working in the fields and was about to have lunch when he saw his daughters-in-law walk up to him with a strange expression. What's wrong with you? Zhao Baoshan asked casually. Feng Zhangxia immediately cried and complained. Father, you have to uphold justice for me. Zhao Baoshan frowned and replied. What's wrong? What do you want me to uphold justice for? If you have something to say it clearly. Feng Zhangxia cried and complained with snot and tears. After hearing Feng Zhangxia's words, Zhao Baoshan's face had already darkened. He scolded. That animal doing all these dirty things. Eating all day long, being lazy, and doing things like stealing. I won't count him. Previously, I didn't care much about what he did to Widow Qian. Now he has stretched his claws to the head of his own family, and can do such things to his own sister-in-law. Isn't it shameful to say it out loud? You've really disgraced yourself. And you've also disgraced our whole family. If I don't teach him a lesson today, my surname isn't Zhao anymore. Zhao Baoshan was so angry that he wanted to skin Zhao Wenshui alive. If this matter was spread out, they would become a laughing stock. In the future, old Zhao's family would not be able to raise their heads in the village. Where is Lao Heir? Where is Lao Heir? Seeing that Zhao Wenshui was not in front of him, Zhao Baoshan shouted. At this moment, Zhao Wenshui didn't dare to come out. He directly hid under the bed, afraid that Zhao Baoshan would find him. Father, second brother is still in the room, Qian Jue replied. Zhao Baoshan walked around the courtyard and rushed into the second branch's room with a wooden stick in his hand. You bastard, hurry up and come out. Zhao Wenshui was so scared that he shivered and hid under the bed, not daring to make a sound. When Zhao Baoshan saw that there was no one in the room, he grumbled unhappily. Where is she? Where is she? Where did she go? Just now, Zhao Wenshui didn't come out and didn't leave the courtyard, so he must still be in the second branch's room. Li Chueying replied. Father, she must still be hiding in the room. Zhao Baoshan immediately scolded. Stinking brat, you bastard. Where did you hide? Hurry up and come out. If you don't come out, I'll teach you a lesson. Zhao Wenshui shivered and thought that he would die even faster if he came out. He would only come out if he was a fool. Chapter 1962. Zhao Wenshui thought that Li Chueying was right. The house was only so big. Where could Zhang Wenshui hide? So they rummaged through the cabinets and finally found Zhao Wenshui under the bed. Zhao Baoshan became even angrier when he saw Zhao Wenshui, a grown man, cowering under the bed. What kind of bastard did he give birth to? He had simply thrown away all of his old face. He had the guts to do dirty things, but didn't have the guts to take responsibility. Now he was hiding under the bed. As a man, how could he hide under the bed? Bastard, come out! Zhao Baoshan yelled at Zhao Wenshui under the bed. Father! Zhao Wenshui looked at Zhao Baoshan pitifully. When he saw the wooden stick in Zhao Baoshan's hand, he didn't dare to come out. Father, if you don't hit me, I'll come out. Zhao Wenshui bargained. No matter what, he had to fight for it. Don't hit you? If I don't hit you, you'll be overthrown. Look at what you've done. You still have the nerve to ask me not to hit you? Today I'll teach you a lesson about what you should do and what you shouldn't do, Zhao Baoshan said with a dark face. Zhao Wenshui curled his lips and hid under the bed. Father, if you don't agree and insist on hitting me, then I'll hide under the bed and not come out. Hearing Zhao Wenshui's words, Zhao Benshin's beard almost blew up. However, he couldn't crawl under the bed like Zhao Wenshui and drag Zhao Wenshui out. After all, he was old and his legs were not very convenient. His wives were all women. Even if they crawled under the bed, they wouldn't be able to drag Zhao Wenshui out. However, if he let Zhao Wenshui hide under the bed, he wouldn't be able to deal with him. How could he take it lying down? If you know what's good for you, then hurry up and come out. Don't force me to make a move. When the time comes, you'll suffer together with me, Zhao Baoshan warned. Zhao Wenshui replied pitifully. Father, I'm going to be beaten anyway. If I come out later, I'll be beaten later. I won't come out. Zhao Baoshan saw that Zhao Wenshui's ruffian appearance made people angry and worried, so he said to Li Chueying, second daughter-in-law, bring the iron fork from home. If he doesn't come out, I'll use the fork to stab him to death. The pitchfork that Zhao Baoshan mentioned was a farming tool. It was usually used to fork rice. The handle was very long, and the top was shaped like a bull's horn. However, it was made of iron and was very sharp. If it really pierced into a person's body, it could kill them. Hearing Zhao Baoshan's words, Zhao Wenshui was so scared that he peed his pants under the bed. His father was too ruthless, wasn't he? How could he think of such a move? He wasn't soft-hearted at all. After all, he was his biological son. Father, I'll come out. I'll come out right away. Zhao Wenshui trembled and hurriedly crawled out from under the bed. However, as soon as he came out, he was greeted with Zhao Baoshan's wooden stick. I'll beat you to death, you bastard. Didn't you say you wouldn't come out? Keep hiding. The wooden stick fell on Zhao Wenshui's body. Zhao Wenshui felt a burst of pain and shouted, Father, it hurts so much. Stop hitting me. Zhao Baoshan hit him while snorting coldly. Stop hitting? You bastard, you still no pain? Why don't you think about what you've done, and whether you deserve to be hit? Zhao Wenshui hurriedly admitted his mistake. Father, I was wrong. I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Please spare me this time.
Chapter 1963. Father, I really won't do it again. I was just confused for a moment. Please forgive me. Zhao Wenshui begged as he dodged. After being hit several times, Zhao Wenshui felt that his body couldn't take it anymore. His body was probably bruised and swollen. Zhao Baoshan was tired, so he stopped to take a breather. Father, what do you think we should do about this? Second brother did such a thing to me. If others find out, I won't have the face to live. Feng Zhangxia cried as she wiped her tears. Zhao Baoshan sighed heavily. He had hit and scolded his son, but his second son's behavior was too much. His eldest daughter-in-law probably still felt uncomfortable. If he didn't deal with it properly, his eldest daughter-in-law would definitely complain. Thus Zhao Baoshan said, Eldest daughter-in-law, I'll leave this brat to you. You can do whatever you want. Feng Zhangxia thought for a moment. Father, this matter will affect my reputation after all. I don't want to live in the same courtyard as second brother in the future. Seeing him makes me sad. Zhao Wenshui was a little puzzled. But we only have one house. We have to live under the same roof. Feng Zhangxia said with a cold face. Then let second brother compensate me. I'll take the money and go outside to build a house. Jing-er will have a lot of betrothal gifts after she gets married. There should be dozens of taels. Give me 15 taels and I'll forget about this matter. 15 taels of silver wasn't a lot, but it definitely wasn't a small amount. With the 15 taels of silver, she could add some more. Then she could build a brick house like Zhao Yiner's house. Of course, Zhao Yiner's house was so expensive, because there were more than 10 rooms. Their family could build 3 or 4 rooms together. They could save on materials and wages. They could live in a brick house. It was definitely much better than living in old Zhao's shabby courtyard. After hearing Feng Zhangxia's request, Zhao Wenshui naturally didn't agree. Li Chuiying was also a little unhappy. At the end of the day, the money was given by his precious daughter's husband's family after she got married. It belonged to him and Zhao Wenshui. Why should he pay for Zhao Wenshui's actions? Moreover, 15 taels of silver was enough for a family to use for a long time. It was enough to buy a few mu of land. Sister-in-law, aren't you being too greedy? If I give you 15 taels of silver, what am I going to eat in the future? Zhao Wenshui said directly. Feng Zhangxia said unhappily, Second brother, I don't want money. You can move out of old Zhao's house and compensate me for my mental damage. Or you can build a house for me, as long as I don't see you. Zhao Wenshui had a difficult expression on his face. How could he possibly do this? His sister-in-law was simply making things difficult for him on purpose. Where could he go if he moved away from old Zhao's house? Sister-in-law this. If that's not possible, then take out another 15 taels of silver. Feng Zhangxia's attitude was very tough. She didn't want to suffer for nothing. This time, she wanted to take advantage of Zhao Wenshui. Otherwise, she would feel sorry for herself. Father. Zhao Wenshui's eyes fell on Zhao Baoshan. He hoped that Zhao Baoshan could say a few words for him. Chapter 1964. Wensher, you have to give an explanation for what you did to your sister-in-law. Otherwise, how are you going to explain it to your big brother? Zhao Baoshan replied after a moment of silence. It would have been fine if Zhao Baoshan had not mentioned Zhao Wensher. But the moment he mentioned Zhao Wensher, Zhao Wenshui could not help but tremble. If his big brother found out, he would definitely kill him. Although his big brother was lying in bed and had not fully recovered from his injuries, he was almost fully recovered and was more than capable of beating him up. Just as Zhao Wenshui was frowning, Zhao Wensher stood behind them and asked in a deep voice, What did Wensher do? Zhao Wenshui raised his head nervously and looked at Zhao Wensher. His legs trembled even more. Big brother, why are you here? You guys made such a big fuss that I was worried something might happen. So I came over. What exactly happened? Tell me quickly. Feng Zhangxia choked with sobs when she saw her man coming over. She rushed over to Zhao Wensher and told him what had happened. Zhao Wensher's face turned ashen when he heard what she said. This damned second brother of his. Of all the women in the world, he dared to hit on his. He did not care about their brotherly relationship at all.
He had almost made him a cuckold. No man could tolerate that. Zhao Wenshu clenched his fists and wanted to rush over and beat Zhao Wenshui up. You bastard! How dare you hit your sister-in-law? You must have some guts. Zhao Wenshu grabbed Zhao Wenshui's collar. Zhao Wenshui's legs trembled, and the urine in his pants flowed down his legs again. He had already peed when he was frightened by Zhao Baoshan. Now that Zhao Wenshu had grabbed him, he peed even more. His crotch was soaked, and the smell of urine spread in the air. Zhao Wenshui smiled fawningly. Big brother. I was wrong. Please forgive me. I won't do it again. A man could not bear to see his woman being humiliated by another man. This was a matter of dignity. If word got out, not only would Zhao Wenshui be embarrassed, but he would also be criticized by others. Therefore, he had to vent his anger. Otherwise, Zhao Wenshui would be too easy. Zhao Wenshu said lightly and punched Zhao Wenshui's face. Zhao Wenshui fell to the ground. The fall wasn't light, and he cried out in pain. Ouch! Big brother. I was wrong. Don't hit me. If you hit me, I'll die. You deserve it even if I beat you to death. We're brothers, but you're good. You want to have ideas about your own sister-in-law. I'm going to cut off your head today. As Zhao Wenshu spoke, he rushed out of the courtyard and took a knife from the kitchen. Zhao Wenshui's face turned pale for a moment. Seeing Zhao Wenshu's agitated appearance, he might really kill him. Zhao Wenshui hurriedly pleaded with Feng Zhangxia. Big sister, I beg you. Please persuade big brother. Feng Zhangxia was unmoved and ignored Zhao Wenshui. Zhao Wenshui immediately agreed to Feng Zhangxia's request. Big sister, I'll compensate you with 15 taels of silver. Is that enough? If you persuade big brother, I'll give you 15 taels of silver. Otherwise, if big brother acts impulsively, I might really lose my life. Zhao Wenshui weighed the pros and cons in his heart. Compared to money and his life was naturally more important. Chapter 1965. When Feng Zhangxia heard this, she snorted. Then I'll persuade your big brother. Zhao Wenshui placed his life in Feng Zhangxia's hands. If Feng Zhangxia couldn't stop him, then he would be finished today. The more he thought about it, the more Zhao Wenshui's legs trembled. His urine dripped down his pants and onto the floor. The other people in the room were speechless when they saw this. This was the first time they saw such a cowardly person. A grown man was actually scared to the point of peeing his pants. If this news spread, they would probably laugh their heads off. Li Chuiying looked at her man, and the disgust in her heart grew stronger. She couldn't find a single good point in Zhao Wenshui. It was fine that he was difficult to do before, but now he didn't dare to admit what he did. He was willing to pay 15 taels of silver for his cheap life. How would she and Zhao Tianyu live in the future? They spent all their money and didn't have any income. Were they going to eat dirt in the future? Li Chuiying glared hatefully at Zhao Wenshui. Tian was making too much of a fuss, so she couldn't say anything even if she wanted to. Zhao Wenshui wanted to chop Zhao Wenshui with the knife in his hand. He waved the knife in his hand and shouted, You bastard, if I don't chop you to death today, I'll be letting the heavens down. Feng Zhangxia hurriedly pulled Zhao Wenshui back. Tianlong's father, calm down. Otherwise, you'll really hurt second brother. Let's just teach him a lesson. If he gets hurt too badly, it won't be good if someone dies. If someone dies, Zhao Wenshui might even be sued. It wasn't worth it for Zhao Wenshui. Zhao Baoshan also hurriedly came forward to persuade him. Boss, this matter is indeed wrong. But let's calm down and think of a way to punish him. Don't really use a knife. Zhao Wenshui's face was red as he said, How can we calm down? He's worse than a beast, and only knows how to do such dirty things. He even dares to lay his hands on his own sister-in-law. I think his thing down there is itching. If you don't want him to die, you have to chop it off. The fear in Zhao Wenshui's eyes deepened when he heard that Zhao Wenshu was going to deal with his family jewels. Big brother, please spare me. If I lose my manhood, will I still be a man in the future? This is worse than taking my life. Zhao Wenshui complained with tears and snot. He almost knelt in front of Zhao Wenshu. Zhao Wenshu scolded with a cold face. You know it too. In my opinion, it's better if you lose your manhood.
Let's see how you're going to defile people in the future. You shameless thing. Boss your brothers. Speak properly and calm down. Second brother did something wrong. I'll definitely make him give you an explanation. But don't destroy his family jewels. After all, he's old Zhao's grandson. Zhao Baoshan persuaded again. Zhao Wenxue was still unwilling to let Zhao Wenxue go. Without Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Baoshan's protection, the kitchen knife in his hand would have fallen on Zhao Wenshue's body. Dad, Sky Dragon's mother, don't stop me. Let me teach him a lesson. Sky Dragon's father put the knife down. It doesn't matter how much money you want. It's too dangerous for you to hold a knife in your hand. Feng Zhangxia urged anxiously. Zhao Wenxue had no choice but to throw the kitchen knife in his hand at Zhao Wenxue. If Zhao Wenxue hadn't dodged quickly, his head would have been split in half. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.